What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. I got my man Clayton in here. Tump, welcome back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, what's going on, fellas?
All
Not much, man.
All well, man.
Yeah,
Excited about that game one.
Yeah. So look, I know we got a lot to cover. We're gonna talk about the finals. We're gonna talk about like what players, like who's moving around, specifically Giannis. With the him moving, he might be moving around where he may be going to and stuff like that, right? But before we get into that, I want to speak about a little bit about the WNBA, right? And specifically, what's the guy name? Jason Whitlock on his show said some things that I wanted us to touch on for a few minutes. Because I want to know, in your opinion, do you think that the WNBA, based on what these guys on Jason Whitlock's show say, do y'all think that the WNBA is doomed? So with that being said, I'm going to play this video, right, with Jason Whitlock, and y'all let me know what y'all think about it.
We're going to make Don Staley and Renee Montgomery as the personalities on this tip-off show. We know how Don about Caitlin Clark and her fans. Renee Montgomery called out Caitlin Clark fans for being racist towards Angel Reese. These are the people that the WNBA and CBS are like, hey, they'd be perfect for the tip-off show. We got this influx of Caitlin Clark and women's basketball fans, and we want to have our tip-off show built around two women that have a problem with Caitlin Clark and her fans. Could you be any dumber than the WNBA and CBS, Steve?
My electricity bill dropped from $150 to $52 doing this one thing.
I think this is all intentional, and I'm going to repeat something I've said many times. The whole culture of the WNBA, which extends beyond the players and coaches. I'm talking about the media members, the podcasters, some of the alternate media, many of the fans, and the social media sphere. It's the most unlikable culture by far of any sport. That, along with the quality of play, I believe, contributes to the lack of interest and downright animus certain people have, or many people have in America, towards women's basketball and specifically the WNBA.
Well, I mean, Steve's 100% right. The TV partners are in on it. The WNBA is in on it. The NBA has to be in on it because they're funding the whole thing to create the group of most unlikable people in America. And I mean that. They spit in the face of everyone that tries to like them over and over. Hey, I'm new here. What's this all about? Shut up, you white idiot. Go back. Brought any of these fans.
All right, I'm gonna pause it right there, right? Do you all feel that like the WNBA is the most heated? The most hated sports league, like in all of sports. Do y'all feel like that right off the top, though? Do y'all agree with that?
I can't say that. I
can't say that. If you want to say my terminology would be controversial. Mm-hmm. Let's say that they're the most controversial league right now.
Yeah.
Because of the growth, because of the excitement, because of who's actually talking about the growth and why the growth is, you know?
Yeah.
Do you think that's their own doing, man? Like they're the most controversial? Do you think that's the WNBA owns doing? Do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. There's an old motto: any press is good press.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we wouldn't be talking about the WNBA right now if it wasn't for the fact of what they were doing.
Yeah.
So even positive, negative, they're still getting their stuff out there. You got major podcasts talking about decisions being made by them. So, it's a win-win situation for the league. The problem is the players, okay, can be in a lose-win situation, because that's when you get the people that starting to like and dislike individuals of the WNBA because of what they think or how they're feeling at any particular moment. So, it's good for the league, bad for the players.
Let me ask y'all this then, because like, all right, so like the one guy on the left hand side of the screen, he was getting into like he think that there's like the NBA is involved with it, like and CBS, like it's an overall conspiracy to kind of like to keep the WNBA from growing. So that's why they're allowing some of this nonsense to go on in the WNBA.
Nah, I mean, we're reaching. To me, they're reaching when they talk about that. You know what I'm saying? And let's just talk about what's on the table itself. A lot of it is stemming from racism. It could go either way, but a lot of discussion is stemming from racism. A lot of discussion is stemming from the old heads not recognizing the newcomers, and what's been built up now that wasn't back then. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of animosity build up. So just call it what it is, and let's stop trying to make it what it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's just they just doing what they want to do.
Mike, the only problem I got with what he's saying, well, one of the major problems I have with what he's saying is I find it hard to believe that the TV partners would be in on stunting the growth. I mean, to me, I would want my investment back. And so this whole thing about, Montgomery and Donstead being part, they dislike it. To me, if Caitlin is the one that makes people watch, I can't see them conspiring to hold her down, because with no success with her, there's no success to the league. And I'm trying to get my investment back. I've already invested into this young lady and her team by giving her more national television appearances than any other team in the league. So why am I going to cut off my nose to spite my face? Now, I don't know what the agenda would be behind that, but it just doesn't make sense to me, and it doesn't add up to me.
And like you say, Clayton, at the very least, they want their investment back. They don't want to take a loss, but they want a profit. You know what I'm saying? They want a profit. You know what I'm saying? But no, I don't see. And speaking of the NBA, I think the NBA, man, have, they're financially invested. You know what I'm saying? They're financially invested. But as far as the ins and outs of how the WNBA is run and things like that, I don't think the NBA is, is putting too much into that. And that's me on the outside looking in. Y'all guys are a lot more, knowledgeable about that than I am. But I just don't see that. You know what I'm saying?
And the thing about it, though, like with the NBA, like I'm separating the TV partners from the NBA, because the NBA, to me, they invested in the league somewhat as a charity thing. So I'm not even sure if they didn't even just write that off in some degree, because initially the commissioner convinced those guys to invest. So it wasn't even about getting a return. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that conversation didn't come up to this new TV deal. But I'm saying the TV partners, if I'm deciding to air your product, I'm investing money in it now. I'm giving you a TV deal. I gotta try to get some of that back. You know what I mean? But the NBA itself, I don't know. I know we keep saying they subsidize and they want something back, but I'm not even sure if they haven't found a way to kind of write that off as some kind of charitable thing, gift. I don't know. But
it's probably right off. No doubt. Anytime big business loses money, they write it off.
They write it off.
Think about it. Think about it like this, right? When you talk about advertisers and TV money and all that stuff, look at it as like a pie, right? So the pie is what the pie is, right? And so the NBA, the NBA don't lose or gain anything from the WNBA being successful, because the money is going to be what either the money is going to go to the they're going to split that money with the players of the NBA, or either they're going to have to split that same pie with the women from the WNBA. So if you look at it from a money perspective, then that's less people that they will have to pay, number one, more, and then that's less people that they will have to split that money with. So I think money plays a big factor in it. Like, they don't really need the WNBA to be successful in order for them to get to their money, which they already going to do either way.
Now let me ask y'all this: the TV deal, does that lessen the financial burden on the NBA and its owners? Does that TV contract for the WNBA, you know what I mean, kind of like take a little bit of the burden off the NBA and its owners?
It should.
It should, but it all depends on what the WNBA management team is required to do. You know what I'm saying? So they may not be required to pay back the NBA teams until they make a certain profit.
Right.
And you got to remember, just because they got that deal, they're still not in the black yet. They're still operating in the red right now. They're just not as much. Like the last time I checked, I think it was like 40 million or something like that now.
That was
where at one
last
point
year.
in time, where at one point in time it was like 260, 270 million.
Dang.
So they're making money. They're just not in the black yet. So their liability to the NBA may be just minuscule compared to what the contract is right now.
But they are projected, according to their own projections, they are projected this year to make a couple of billion, according to their projections. Really? But I think for whatever reason, I'm under the impression that the NBA's investment, it was never about paying them back. It was about getting that league up and sustaining it. It was never about paying them back. So
I can see that.
And hold up. Let's remember what the WNBA was supposed to represent in the first place. It was supposed to be alternative for women going overseas. Right. Okay, that's why the NBA actually started the WNBA, because all the stars were going overseas because they had no place to go professional. So the NBA figured, like, look, we subsidize this league. We may not get a return off of it, but we will still have basketball where basketball needs to be.
It was a goodwill gesture. It was a goodwill gesture.
Exactly. It was a goodwill gesture.
So Clay, that goes to you kind of like said something earlier about like it being like charity almost, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's why I'm thinking that maybe it may not be in the best interest financially for the NBA if that WNBA grows, because that means that there's more people that you need to split that revenue with.
But if you're always taking a loss on something,
revenue.
If you're taking a loss on something, you know, it's just like a lot of people don't understand, you know, major sporting teams really don't make their money off of ticket sales and stuff. Where they make their money is home concessions and parking and all that little stuff that we don't see, but we're paying $50 to park and TV deals, right? And remember, the TV deals are shared revenue. Right. Okay. So if the TV deals is $1 billion a year, you know, let's say in football, all 32 teams split that $1 billion.
That's right.
They split it. But the owners itself, they really make their income from the home games.
Yeah.
Especially in basketball.
But they get it back. They get it back. Because, you know, before the season starts, everybody's salary got to be put in escrow. You know, everybody's salary. Yeah, they got to have that put up already before the season starts. So, like you say, once the revenue for the ticket sales, parking, all that stuff,
all that other stuff,
some of that back.
Like you go to Camden Yards. I went to Camden Yards a week ago, and I bought a hot dog for $15.
Get out of here!
Yes, a hot dog.
Man,
I could have bought 2 packs, the rolls, and the condiments that go on top of it. For the price.
Ain't that much artificial flavoring in the world?
Right, but you know that's how they make their money.
Oh, ain't no question. Ain't no question. Even memorabilia, that's split between the teams. You know what I'm saying? Memorabilia, hats and jersey sales and all that. That's split evenly,
Because if you really look at it, I read an article where, let's say if Michael Jordan was playing for the Bulls, you know, Michael Jordan will only get 10% of that jersey money. The rest will go to the team in the NBA. So even though his number, his name, and everything is associated with that jersey, he will only get 10% of it.
Because it's a licensing deal.
It's a licensing deal.
So look, how many So how many teams in the NBA? It's 32, right?
32. Yep.
And then so that's just like having the WNBA and the NBA. That's like what is 13 teams in it. So that's like having 45 teams.
You keep putting them together, Mike. They not.
If they subsidize, if the NBA is subsidizing the WNBA, you don't think you could put them together?
They not together. They got separate. No. They got separate commissioners, separate league rulings, separate offices. The NBA did something as a goodwill gesture,
right?
But they're not part of that business. They're not part of that business.
Yeah, separate revenue too.
Yep.
Yeah. And put it this way: the NBA can't. The NBA does not run the WNBA.
It just subsidizes.
Right.
It just subsidizes, right?
Yeah, it just subsidizes.
Yeah. So they're not in it. Yeah.
And I don't think they should be either. I don't think they should be in day to day, you know what I'm saying, workings of that league. I don't think they should be. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't even know if, like you say, Clayton, I don't even know if they should even have a say. They can suggest things, but let them run it the way they best see fit. You know what I'm saying? Let them run it. And another thing that you don't get the WNBA, I'm gonna let you go after this, Clayton.
No, you good.
Remember years ago, you had teams moving all the time. You had teams folding. You had teams moving a lot.
Yep.
So they kind of like stabilize it in that sense. And I don't know if I don't know why that has happened. I'm not even gonna speculate, but you don't see that as often. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many teams it was, at the height of WNBA. I wouldn't necessarily say the height, but you know what I'm saying, the most teams ever had at one time. But 13, I didn't know it was that little amount. I thought it was like 20 teams in the WNBA. I didn't know it was 13.
Well, you gotta remember, a lot of the teams folded. Because remember Houston Comets.
Right.
They were their number one franchise at one point in time, and they folded.
Right. And remember Detroit, they had a team that moved a couple times and things like that. Yeah, so.
Yeah, the WNBA has never been a stable franchise. I mean, they've never been really in a stable league.
Right.
They're just getting to that point where outside investors now want to own the team, own teams now. So it's a plus for them now because now they don't have to depend on an NBA team saying, okay, move to my city and then we'll help subsidize as long as you're playing in my city. Because I found out that's what's going on in DC. DC is helping the Wizards is helping the Mystics at all levels.
In some cities, like I know Indiana, the same organization that owns the Pacers does own the Fever.
Right.
I do know that. It's called the Pacers Sports Management or whatever, but some situations might be like that, but that's few and far between.
Well, they got
also too, and even in the arena, the Wizards pay for the leasing for the Mystics.
For another arena.
The arena. They pay for their leasing. So when the Wizards go and negotiate their lease for the what is it?
Is it the same ownership group?
Yeah, it's the same ownership group. It's the same ownership group. And like I said, they're incorporated with the Mystics. So when they negotiate their contracts for the arena, they're not only doing the Wizards, but they're negotiating for Wichita as well. Whereas though if you have some of these other franchises that's not really tight with the NBA, they're negotiating their own contracts. That's why you see them playing in smaller arenas and stuff, because they are negotiating their own contracts.
I just wanted to run that past y'all just to see like what y'all thought like the state of the WNBA was, as and is the Jason Whitlock and his co-host like, are they reaching when they say that the WNBA and CBS and all those guys are conspiring against the WNBA?
Man, Jason Whitlock got Tommy Hearns reach, man. That dude is always reaching, man. I'm telling you, man. This guy, man, he take everything, man, and he runs with it. And everything is the extreme with this guy, man. Everything is extreme,
Yeah. So all right, let me ask y'all. Let's go to the NBA, man, with these the finals and stuff, man. What did y'all think about that game and how the Pacers came back less than 2 minutes?
Yeah, let me tell you this.
That's what they've been doing all postseason. Go ahead.
Man. Let me just tell y'all something, okay? And I predict this when I saw what was going on, okay? The Indiana Pacers take advantage. They take advantage of teams that sits, okay?
Teams at what, man? I ain't hear you. Teams at what?
That's 6. They did it against Milwaukee. They did it against New York. And now they're doing it against OKC. When them teams don't have consistent play, Indiana comes in and takes advantage of that. Them not having that playing time, you know, how long did OKC have? A week and a half off? Once they went in series into the next game on that Thursday? That layover, I think, cost them. And Indiana takes advantage of that because they did the same exact thing in New York. New York
went all the way to, they went the distance with Detroit. Who they played before they played Indiana?
They played Detroit.
They went the distance.
Right, but you got to remember, Indiana played at
Indiana was resting. Indiana was resting because they got Cleveland out here early.
I thought they got Cleveland out later than what New York did.
No, they got Cleveland out here early.
I think
Cleveland only won 1 game in that series, didn't they?
That was over like 5 games or something.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you this, man, that I think you got to give Indiana credit for playing well down the stretch, man, hitting some timely baskets. It looked like to me that OKC got gas down the stretch. Seemed like they got gas. They went too much one-on-one ball. They went too much one-on-one, but shy, in my opinion, down the stretch. Everything was just him. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was like just pressed down on the baseline, maybe come out, set a high screen, and he'd do whatever. But he had a decent game scoring-wise. He had like 30, 37, 38 points.
38. Yeah, 38
points. Rick Carlisle, man, gets a lot of credit. He should anyway. Rick Carlisle should get a lot of credit, man. And I didn't even know this, man. I was listening to a sports show going to work the other day. They say, man, he would only become the 4th head coach to win titles at 2 different places. They said, of course, Pat Riley and Phil Jackson. Then they named the guy I never even heard of. They named the guy I never even heard of. They think Carlisle, if he was to pull this off, would become the 4th head coach to do that, win in 2 different spots, man. But Rick Carlisle, man, I like the way he coached. I like the way he coaches because it almost seemed like he said, all right, well, you know, he gonna do his thing. He gonna do his thing. So what we're gonna do is, man, we're gonna run guys at him, make them work, and then everybody else get clamped. But all that being said, man, they was winning the whole entire game. So you gotta give Indiana, you know what I mean, some credit for that, though.
I like the way Indiana, although they made a record number of turnovers in the first half, I love how they limited OKC for points off those turnovers. See, OKC, they get a lot of turnovers and they wind up stretching the lead and blowing teams out. Indiana didn't allow them to score. I don't think they only scored 9 points off of 20-something turnovers.
In the first half?
In the first half. That was huge, man.
But they transition defense, man. They get back, man.
That was huge. That was
huge. Get back. You always see them guys running the floor, man, on defense. They get back, man. So, and you got to do that. Like you said, you got to do that against OKC.
That was huge.
Yeah, it really. And then Clayton, I think they only had like 4 or 5 turnovers the second half.
Yeah, the turnovers lessened in the second half. They didn't turn the ball over much.
Yeah, so they didn't turn the ball over at all in the second.
And I think they won the 3rd quarter, and they didn't win the 4th quarter. They stayed close in the 4th quarter, I think. But it was enough to get them over the edge. But like you said, man, like that team, and then here again, Shea did a lot of work offensively, hit a lot of tough shots, but nobody else really did any damage. Where on the other side, they kept Tyrese quiet all game.
Yeah, and the thing about it was,
and the other guys,
the other guys didn't have crazy scoring nights, but
it was balanced.
And see, that's the thing right there, right? So coming down the stretch, when they stopped Shea, number one, he penetrated too far down into the paint because he over-penetrated, and the defense had collapsed on him. That made that shot a difficult shot, right? And so. And the thing about Tyrese, he didn't force his game at all throughout that whole game. Everybody was, like you said, they had the balance. Everybody was like involved in the game throughout. So they were sharp all the way through. And then, you know, so when it counted, he came down and hit that shot. He
that
was
shot.
fresh, you know what I mean? And he was sharp.
Now,
And he sat on the bench. He sat on the bench for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
I was wondering when Rick was going to go back to him.
you know what, Clay? You're absolutely right. I thought he was hurt. I thought he was hurt because
He was just sitting there.
Yeah, man, you have an injury. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
I was on the phone with my son, and I'm like, man, where Halliburton? Is he hurt? Yeah,
Yep.
right, Clay. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and that guy that backed him up, he did an outstanding job getting them in their sets, distributing the basketball. Also, it almost like OKC, you know, they watch film for Tyrese, but now when you got this other guy handling the point and setting things up, his tendencies may be a little different, you know, so he was able to get them in and out of sets and stuff. But OKC still plays some tremendous defense. They really did.
Man, they do.
They really did.
They do, man. They real hands.
They played tremendous defense.
On defense with their hands, man. They real active, man. Yeah.
They play them passing lanes beautiful.
Yes, they do. Yes,
they play the passing lanes beautiful.
They do.
I'm gonna tell y'all this. This is what we fail to understand sometimes. We're talking about the two best teams in the league. Okay. So therefore, what we got is what we should have gotten. We should have gotten coming down to the wire. We should not have gotten a blowout. We should not have gotten a 15, 20-point blowout game. We got great defense. We got great hustle. We got, you know, ups and downs to make a great game. That's what the NBA needed.
I think the series is going to be that way, man. I think the entire series is going to be that way. I really do.
It needs to be. It absolutely needs to be.
With that being said, man, this is what we should have got. Should we have gotten Indiana turning the ball over a record number of time in the first half?
No. The problem is, you know, Indiana is there because they're a great team. You build on you got your mistakes in the first half. You correct them in the second half. You know what I'm saying? That's the responsibility of a great team.
So what happens if Indiana don't turn the ball over that much?
Hey, the game might have won. Indiana might have lost.
And like you say, Clayton, it's still a tight game because they only turned them turnovers into 9 points.
That's true.
That's true. It still would have been a close game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but would Indiana would have had more on the scoreboard with less turnovers?
Could have. But you gotta remember, what's the name number one in defense for a reason though? OKC, they number one defense.
I get it. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. It's just a caveat, you know.
I think the one advantage Indiana has over OKC is coaching though. I think they do have that advantage.
And see, that's what I was going to say because like Jim said, give Carlisle a ton of credit. When the Pacers stopped SG with 10 seconds left on the clock, Carlisle did not call a timeout and let OKC set their defense. He allowed his team to just play through, right? And that right there.
See, and that's what I was telling everybody. Like, it's going to come down to coaching because the two teams are so matched up really, really well. It's going to come down to who's going to be the better coach at the time of need. And that's what we got.
Them critical moments, man, you know what I mean? That make the difference in winning and losing. And you don't want a team like OKC to be able to get set defensively. You want them on their heels, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? You don't want them set defensively. That was a good non-timeout call.
It was excellent.
So let me ask y'all this though, right? Check it out. We talking about Halliburton. If he finish off this playoff run with a title, right? Can you stamp him? Can you stamp him as a superstar?
I already have.
I mean, why not?
I don't need the title.
I mean, considering that we just stamp superstars with less accomplishments, definitely.
Yeah, some people got a higher bar for superstars than others.
I think the fact of what Halliburton has been doing throughout the playoffs and stuff like that. Then you had people saying that Halliburton is like he's the most overrated, one of the most overrated, and then he continuously come through, you know, against Yeah, man. I think he is. There's a lot of
How
buzz around him
how
too.
many
Old
how
school.
many All-Star teams has he been named to?
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know.
And he also made the Olympic team, didn't
He
he?
did make the
Yeah.
Olympics. Yeah, he did make the Olympics. Yeah. And you know what? He's a throwback point guard though. He's not one of them score first point guards. He
Right.
wasn't a pass first point guard. So that's what I like about his game. You know, he's a
Yeah.
throwback in that aspect. A J Kidd, if you will.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Magic Johnson. You know what I'm saying? A pass first point guard. You know what I mean? I like that. You know what I'm saying?
I like that we're getting a chance to see his personality. That's the biggest thing. People falling in love with this kid, whoever watching. He's got great personality, man. He's good for the game.
He can play, man, and that's almost
Yeah.
like a compliment that you can give a
Yeah.
person, man.
Yeah.
He can play, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. So
Mhm.
Time said, make sure I read this right. He said, yeah, I don't know basketball, Urban, but make sure you read this aloud to each and every one of those brothers on the panel. What Indiana has over Oklahoma City is 12 players that can score. Yeah, I mean, I like they got a lot of scoring coming off the bench. Well, they have some scoring off the bench. I don't know if they got 12. I would agree that they have 12 that can flat out do it. Because if you say that for Indiana, then you got to say that for the Pacers, because all of them professional basketball players, all of them, you know, at some point in time in their careers was was that dude on whatever other team they played for before they came to this level, right? But yeah, man, I like the fact that, like I said, when it comes down to coaching, that Carlisle just knows how to use that bench. You know when to use certain players. You know, so yeah, man, I just like that coach.
Who did he win a title with?
Detroit, wasn't it?
No.
What?
The coach of Detroit when they won? No, that was Larry Brown.
No.
So Dallas when they beat LeBron and them.
I think it was Dallas.
He was the Dallas coach then? Okay, with Dirk Nowitzki?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Dallas. Yeah, man. I think so. What do y'all think going forward, right? Was it a situation where OKC gave one up, or is it a situation where Indiana just took it?
Indiana took it. OKC didn't give it up. Indiana took it. I mean,
I go other way on it. I think OKC gave it up because they had a big lead, something that they should have kept. And I give Indiana credit. You know what I'm saying? I do give Indiana a lot of credit because, like I said, they made some critical baskets. You know what I'm saying? At crucial times in that game, man. But I still think OKC gave that game away. I still think they gave that game away. But,
yeah.
You know what I mean? You can look at it, you know what I'm saying? Half a dozen in one hand, you know what I'm saying? 6 in the other, but you know what I'm saying? It's going to be.
So let me ask y'all this.
Man, that's what I want to see.
So let me ask y'all this then. Do y'all think that if Carlisle had been coaching for OKC, would he have handled that situation differently than the coach from than OKC coach? You know what I mean? Like when we talk about like coaching and experience or something like that, even coming down a stretch, I kind of felt like I saw this coming for Indiana. I was like, Indiana is on them. They on their way back.
Yeah. I felt the same way, Mike. You know, like the last maybe like 3 minutes, and I'm like, man, I ain't too confident that OKC gonna hold on. You know what I'm saying? Because just the way it seemed like the tide was turning, and I was like, man, I don't think OKC gonna be able. And then the way they offense started to play, they started to get. It was a lot less movement on offense, and like I say, it was almost like a pin down, and then let Shy go 1-on-1, or they come out with a high screen and stuff like that. But it wasn't a lot of movement on offense. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not a lot of flashing to the basket, you know, flashing in the paint, things like that. I don't know.
But so you got to also remember, too, that Indiana's been in those situations where OKC is just getting into those situations.
They've been blowing people out all year.
Right. They've been blowing people out. So they haven't had that situation where as though, you know, oh, my God, a team is coming back on us like that, playing real defense like that. Yep. Indiana's a scrapping team. They remind me of the old Detroit Pistons. Yep. You know what I'm saying? They're a scrapping team. You can never count them out because of the defense that they play. So, you know, maybe, you know, let's put it to the fact that OKC, you know, thought they had the game in the bag and you know, they did. But now they got to realize that, we're playing, you know, the Eastern Conference champions. So if we think we're going to blow them out by 30, 35 points, every game, we got to rethink our program. So because
I will say the coach did use his timeouts. He took timeouts to try to stop Indiana's runs and things of that nature. I think it just came down to personnel, the players on the floor. And I think Indiana wanted it more. They was in that moment, and they buckled down on defense, got some key stops.
Yeah. Execution played a big part. I just didn't like how the offense was run late in that fourth quarter for OKC. It seemed like it was something different than what they was running all game. It seemed like they got a little tight. Like Man was saying, it was a situation they hadn't been in. They got a little tight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and they got a little nervous, a little tight. Yeah, so
I think
they're a young team.
Yeah. But
I think it got caught up with them though. Okay, so the style of play just caught up with them in the end. You know what I mean? And Carlisle had, you know what I mean? Like Carlisle, it kind of played into his hand. Like that style that OKC was playing throughout the game caught up with them, number one. And then number two, down the stretch, like I said, when he had to take that shot, when Shea had to take that shot with the defense that collapsed on him, made it a difficult shot. Earlier in the game, that, you know what I mean? Number one, they wasn't collapsing like that, like they did on that. You know what I mean? In the first half, they ain't collapsed like that. They just allow him to isolate on whoever was playing him. Then he could either shoot that fadeaway or he could elevate over top of them. But they made that correction in the second half.
Well, I say one play, I seen them come down. They did collapse, and he had an incredible shot going to the basket. Shea hit some tough shots.
But there you go. See, Clayton, all of them was tough. See, they didn't make nothing easy for him. You know what I'm saying? They ain't make nothing easy for him.
That's why I'm giving Indiana credit.
Right.
He hit tough shot. Right. He had just buried a big three right before that.
Right.
He had buried a big three, so
I mean, see, that's another thing. Like, if it's contingent upon him taking and making tough shots, if you're Indiana, I can live with that.
I can live with that.
I can live with that. You know what I'm saying?
I can live with that. Yeah. So
let's talk about like the point guards, right? Each point guard and their approach to the game. Game number two. If you are Shea, do you want to get your teammates more involved in the game than you did game number one?
Yes. If I'm the coach, that's the point of emphasis.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's the point of emphasis. I mean, Shea had a great game, but that's the point of emphasis.
Early, Mike. Early. Because he can get his when he wants. You know what I'm saying? So get these other guys involved. So if it do come to a critical time, it's not they haven't touched the ball since the first quarter and things like that. And you know what I'm saying? A couple plays, man, it seemed like they was playing hot potato, man. They, you know what I mean? They didn't even want to touch it. Like, here, give it back to Shea. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if that was coming from the coach or that's just, you know what I mean, how it turned out. But like y'all say, it's a young team, man, and you know what I'm saying? They learning as they go.
Yeah.
In this second game, I think Tyrese is going to have to put more of a scoring onus on his shoulders because I think OKC is going to come out to really try to eliminate what some of them others are doing, and to open the game up, Tyrese going to have to attack the rim, have them collapse on him so he can get them other guys involved. So he's going to have to be a lot more offensive minded, I believe. I'm not sure going into this next game.
I just think this is going to be like a chess match, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got both guards that can score whenever they want to. You know what I mean? And then so Tyrese first game, he didn't force it. He got his teammates involved, and he took it. He gave you baskets when they needed it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like fool's gold for OKC because Shea could get a shot whenever he wanted it, and then everybody got comfortable with that. You know what I mean? And then so now, this is gonna be a chess match, man. This Mike, you like I'm not falling for that game too.
No,
I'm gonna have everybody involved.
Then another thing with Halliburton, because Clayton just said it. He said so. Sometimes when you take a step back and you sit and watch, you can still see, like, okay, this is how I can affect the game this way, or this is what I need to do that way. So while he's sitting and watching, and who knows, that might be why Rick Carlisle told him to sit. I need you to sit over here and see what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So once you get back out there, you know, you can do things and tweak things like this, that, and the other. But that's a good point. I think he's going to have to be more offensive minded, but I think it's going to be by force. I think he might not necessarily want to be, but I think the way OKC might play him, that he's going to be that more aggressive. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was excellent. I think Carlisle gave them something they wasn't necessarily prepared for. That other guy he had a lot of minutes out there running that offense. A lot of minutes.
So now, as the series goes on and move on to the latter games, he got that experience. He got the minutes. He got that time in. He's not going to be, you know what I'm saying, like a fish out of water if he's in there at crunch time.
Yeah. And so let me read this, right? Because I like this guy too. Tom said, don't forget about my favorite player on Indiana. The backup point guard comes in and always puts in that work. McConley. This dude, his mid-range game, man, is just, he always find them open spots on the court where he can get his shot off. He know how to penetrate just enough where as though, you know, like if the big man commit to him, he gonna go around him. If the big man don't commit enough, he gonna elevate and get his shot off, man. So I like this dude. What his name? TJ or something? TJ McConnell?
Yeah, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I think his last name McConnell. But you know what, Mike? You made the comparison. Well, I'm making the comparison when you say about Shea earlier, over penetrating. Sometimes you can stop and shoot the little 10-footer.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You don't have to go all the way in there. But I know he's a guy that like to draw contact and go to the free throw line and things like that. So maybe, you know, that's part of his game, man. But sometimes you don't have to go all the way in there like that, you know?
Yeah. It's an art to knowing like how far to penetrate and stuff like that, right? But the fact that, you know, like these guys are even, you got McConnell, like a lot of these guys is just using that mid-range shot, man. That just makes the game more competitive to me.
I'm gonna tell you what the key basket was down the stretch, though. When old boy missed that three, and what's the dude who used to be in Toronto?
Siakam.
Yeah,
he caught that shit out of midair and put that layup in. That was
the air ball, and he caught
that was huge.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was huge. Yep. And another huge shot. Siakam hit that three in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that one, but
that was huge.
Elbow. Somebody, it might have been Siakam again, hit one like at the elbow, shot clock winding down.
Man,
he goes up and hit one. I like that's a tough shot. It was like a money shot. You know what I'm saying? A money shot. Like, damn,
he hit some real crucial buckets, man.
Right, man. Right.
Real crucial buckets.
You gotta take your hat off to Indiana. They never stopped hard.
Never stopped playing.
They didn't get flustered when they was down, you know, double digits, 15 points or whatever. But you got to be ready for the blitz game 2 from OKC. Get ready for the blitz. You know what I'm saying? And I think Indiana will be ready. I think they'll be ready, but they're gonna have to withstand it. You know what I mean? Because OKC gonna come out.
I just think that like if OKC get a lead, I think they'll manage the game a little bit differently than they managed game 1. But let me see what Tom said. Urban, we can't be talking about getting experience when you get in the finals. That is real ludicrous. You should already be hit the buckets once you hit the finals. And I mean, all right, so Siakam got championship experience. Then you got what's the white dude that wear the headband that got the championship experience for OKC?
Yeah.
I can't
think of his name.
But I like his game too, right? But the thing is though, if you've never been there before, then you still have to go on what you know, or you have to lean on people who have already been there and experienced it. So you got the coach on one end at Indiana, he has championship experience. Then you got Siakam, you know. Then you got what's his name, Alex Caruso for the Pacers. He got experience. So you got.
And don't think
that you gotta go for what you know. Really, it just
don't think. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Go ahead, Clay.
No, I was saying that even Tyrese Halliburton said he had the jitters at tip off. He was nervous.
And then I'm gonna go back to a coach who didn't play, didn't utilize his bench like a Thibodeau who just got fired from the court. So he threw them guys in that he didn't really use, and they like fish out of water. They like, you ain't played me all season. So I mean, just imagine if this happened in the finals on the biggest stage when all the marbles are up. You know what I'm saying? So
Golden State did the same thing when they threw the boy in there. What's the guy name? You know, they expected him to take over the game when they put him in there. What's the guy name that went in there? Kuminga. You know what I mean? Like Kuminga big time throughout the season.
Right.
But not at the, he wasn't expected to get them out of a jam like he was, like, to save the season.
He's always in the doghouse, man. His nickname should be K9. What's his name? Kept him in the doghouse all the time, man, for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, he kept him in the doghouse. And I know I'm switching subjects, but I'm going back to Golden State for a second, right? And we talk about Kerr. Nobody, the boy that got punched in the face that wound up going to DC.
Jordan Poole.
All right, Jordan Poole, right? What he was doing, what he was saying, okay, yeah, you was out of line and stuff like that. But he helped the team. But like you said, Mike, he's so married to them big three. Well, Clay not there no more, but he's so married to the big three that help him get them championships that you look at everybody else as expendable. You understand? And that costs you your future. You know what I'm saying? And, man, that costs you your future. He could have kept Jordan Poole there. He could have kept Kuminga in the mix, and they could help him now. They can help that team now. You know what I'm saying? But
I don't know if that's Steve Kerr. I don't know if that's Steve Kerr's call or the GM's call.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Man.
I think it is Steve because they don't have the same GM now that they had when they was
winning. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I think Steve Kerr carry a lot of weight when it comes to that. Jim says that was Naismith. Oh, Naismith also won a title with the Celtics. I ain't know that.
That me either. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, good info. I know.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And so Tom said I can understand players having the butterflies. That's different. Yeah, man. That's true.
Everybody think this series going 7, but for me, I don't.
You don't think it's going 7?
I don't. 6?
I just don't think it's going 7. I think game 2 is going to reveal something. And whoever take game 2 gonna run the table.
Clayton, this is the first time I think me and you have really agreed on something. I don't think it's going 7 either.
I don't
think it's going 7.
Maybe that's just wishful thinking, being a fan of basketball, want to see good basketball as long as I possibly can. Maybe, maybe that's what it is with me wanting to see a 7-game series.
Yeah, everybody, even when the Knicks lost the first 2 games, everybody was still calling 7.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because they wanted to see 7.
Yeah, I wasn't calling 7 for that, not for the Knicks.
I wasn't.
Yeah,
I wasn't.
I didn't even think the Knicks was going to win the series because I told you got those big guards. Big guards give that dude Brunson. It's a problem.
But hey, the Knicks were favored to win the series.
Yeah,
the Knicks were favored.
I just thought that the big guards was just too much for.
But they didn't get Brunson in trouble.
Yes, they did.
He was leading them in scoring. He was putting up 30 and everything else.
No.
Wait. All right,
Indiana gave New York trouble.
Let me say something about that. I don't care if you lead your team in scoring. That's cool. But that's only one aspect of the game. We talking about these 2 guards now who are in the championship. They can affect their team in multiple ways, not just scoring. So he could lead his team in scoring. That's cool. But how many assists did he have? What was his defense like? Like, how did he affect them on the defensive end? So when we talk about these other 2 teams, these guys do that. He don't do that.
The only one game they gave Brunson trouble, and that was the last game.
What did Brunson do on defense against anybody in the playoffs?
Well, I would have to go back and revisit that. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but I know
nothing.
I know Brunson. I know Brunson. I know Brunson came to play.
He cannot defend. He can't defend.
Okay, I know Brunson came to play, and he can do something. They were in the finals. I know Brunson came to play. Those big guards, they didn't beat them because they shut Brunson down. Indiana played collectively as a team, played great defense, played the passing lanes well, and they beat New York. It's not coming down to one player. It's never is.
I'm saying that Brunson
unless
is
it's
limited.
Jordan. Huh?
Brunson is limited. Not these two guys. This why we get ready to have a chess match, because you can't, if you take scoring against from either of these two guys, they can do other things to affect the team at both ends. Brunson can only score.
I disagree with that.
Oh,
That's your assessment, though.
yeah. No, that's almost like 100% fact. I'm about to start calling you Prophet Mike. I'm gonna start calling you Prophet Mike because they had the plus and minus. They had the plus and minus. Not only him, Cat as well. Carl Anthony Towns was bad defensively. They, you know what I'm saying? There was Brunson, their two biggest stars, where you can't take them off the floor, but there's such a liability on the defensive end. You understand? And Mike, man, you talked about this a while ago. Brunson, every shot, every point, he has to work so hard to get. You understand? Nothing ever with him is a one bounce shoot.
That's who he is.
Shoot. Right. And I said this. The only dude I saw work as hard for his shots, his points, was Allen Iverson. I never seen a guy that small work as hard to score. Now, you know, he want to draw contact, he want to bump and stuff like that, but as the season and the series goes along, that starts to wear you down. You know what I'm saying? If you playing against guys that's mostly bigger than you are, stronger than you are, it starts to wear on you. Even if you are scoring a lot, it's starting to take a toll. It's starting to take a toll.
I just think Indiana won that series because they played the passing lanes extremely well. That's what I think.
Thibodeau's a horrible coach.
That may be too. That may be
Let
true
me ask
too.
y'all, do y'all think it was warranted for Thibodeau to get fired?
Yeah. That's crazy to say he made it.
I don't know.
I don't like Tibbs. I just don't like his coaching style, man. Even when he had Dirk, bro, you get a point guard, man, and it's like you wear him. You only go, your rotation only goes 6, 7. You know what I mean? I just don't like that. I don't like that type, man.
He took the Knicks the furthest in his last 4 years. Any coaches took the Knicks in the last 25 to 30 years.
That's true.
And he's gone further each year. Okay, and so you to blame this loss, which you know the New York fans are going to blame it on somebody. Okay, but to fire this dude over this loss right here, ridiculous. I mean, when you got Carl Anthony Towns, did you automatically assume you were going to go to the championship? Was that the automatic assumption? Because if that was, the New York fans are highly delusional.
You know what's funny, man? He gets the most out of Carl Anthony Towns, though. Out of any coach he can play, he gets the most out of him, though.
I'll say this to you guys. If New York don't blow a 20-something point lead in game 1 and they take game 1, different series.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. They were up by boatloads.
Again, we were talking about game 1. Thibodeau, last time I checked, he never stepped out on the court. You know what I'm saying? That game, let me tell you, that was game 1. And this is where I get with Mike with Bronson. That game 1 was a lot of horrible decisions by an undersized point guard to try to make shit happen. Okay? And that's where I think that league got blown at, because it was trying to force some things. Bronson was trying to force shots. Bronson was trying to force scoring. And he
does that a lot, man. He does that a lot, man. He forced the ball a lot.
And against better teams.
But I think they lost the lead because defensively they took their foot off the gas.
They got winded too. And Indiana, if you can remember, Indiana was even running on made baskets. Even when New York would make shots, Indiana would run the ball up to the front. And knowing this call out again, this Rick call out again, I gotta tip my hat. Knowing that Thibodeau only goes 6 or 7 deep, we're gonna run them guys. You know, they're gonna get tired. We're gonna run them guys. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Mike, spoke to, the X's and O's or the chess match, that he used. That's when Rick Carlisle coaching comes into the play. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gonna run them guys. They only go 6, 7 deep. We going at least 9, 10 over here. We got fresher legs. Run them. You know what I'm saying? We just want to track me.
But look, with that being said, though, right? Jim make a good point he said he interested in seeing how New York, like how the new coach in New York, like what can he do to switch up things with the lineup as they are currently constructed. I'm gonna add that.
Depends on who the coach is, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you this: the way I think New York is going to operate is this. I think they're going to put the personnel package together first, then hire the coach. So I can see whoever they're going after in the free agent market. I think they're going to go after them aggressively first before they say, okay, we're going to get this coach. Because there's a lot of coaches out here, like Ty Lue and all these other coaches that can motivate the Knicks to run. But if you ain't got the personnel to do it, it no matter how much motivation you put out there, you got to have the people that want to fit your offense.
Do you want your head coach to have some kind of input along with you? Like, because sometimes the way coaches coach, they want certain personnel to match to some of the things they like to do.
Right, and I would agree with that on most circumstances. But the way they fired their coach, it was like, okay, you would have to get to the finals, or we're gonna let you go anyway. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree with you on that, man. I think that was predetermined. Like you say, if you don't get to the finals, you out. You know what I'm saying? I almost think, yeah, man. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, so it's more like, let me get this. Like I said, there's certain individuals that New York can grab and make them better, and there's certain individuals that they can't.
What about that guy that what's the name fired? Denver. What's the name? That he fired at the end of Mike Malone. What about Mike Malone? Was that somebody that y'all would take a look at?
I mean, I don't know.
Me.
One thing I do know, if they're trying to bring in marquee players, they're gonna have to have a coach there that these guys see some potential in or want to play for or something. I don't think it's a good idea to try to get players when you ain't got a coach.
Yeah, but see, the problem is, who are you going to get better to coach the team now that you just got rid of?
Yeah, that I don't know.
Because he got better every year.
But
the Knicks literally got better every year.
Well, Mike Malone, he won a title. So you can say he's a better coach than Thibodeau. Thibodeau never won anything. So you can say you bring in Mike Malone, he a championship coach. You know what I'm saying? But that was just names that was thrown out there. Mike Malone, the brother Mike Brown that used to coach LeBron in Cleveland, you know what I mean, and Lakers and stuff. That was another name that was thrown out.
But see, you know, remember them names that you're throwing out there. Are they willing to go to the Knicks, the state that the Knicks are in?
Who knows?
The Knicks is in a good state. Yeah, they're in a good state.
No. They
just lost in the Eastern Conference Finals.
No, I'm not talking about the state of basketball for the Knicks. I'm talking about the state of coaching. You bring a coach in, whoever that coach they bring in now, the expectations are of them going to the finals. Period. End of story. And if they lose, okay, who's saying that you're not out at that point?
Yeah, I like that. I like Sam to the Knicks.
Sam Cassell.
I like that, Jim. I like that.
But to man's point though, like Sam Cassell to the Knicks, like how fair is that for number one? If you pick a roster and then you say, Sam, I'm gonna bring you in.
No,
are you setting Sam up to lose when you do him like that though?
That's why you hire him first and you let him have input.
But the roster's already set.
Clayton. I mean, especially if you're bringing in a coach that Sam don't have head coaching experience, you might want to bring him in and then set your roster, as opposed to Malone, who has and you can like, all right, man, we can set our roster, and Malone has a track record of winning. Then we can bring in, and we know he has a track record of getting it done.
Right, but the Knicks ain't rebuilding their roster. They're one player away or keeping it the way it is. Okay. I'm not saying they're doing a full rebuild before they get in the coach.
We're not saying that.
And listen, remember, Sam been sitting on that Boston bench. He been sitting assistant coaching on that Boston bench, that organization.
He's been sitting on a lot of
benches, so he knows something. He know a thing or two. You understand what I'm saying? And players love him around the league. They love him.
Nobody say nothing bad about Sam. I don't hear nobody.
They love him.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'll tell you what I would love to see. And I'm not a New York fan, but because we bought, I would love to see because we bought it up. Sam Cassell coaching Durant at the Knicks. You know what I'm saying?
And they
Coaching
talking
that
Durant.
Knicks team. Right. That's what I'm saying. I would love to see that. I
Mhm.
think right there that would make a Knicks team, give them the opportunity now to say, look, everybody has to beat us. We don't have to beat you. You got to beat us now. Because I think Sam Cassell can get the direction of fast-paced playing defense. Because you got to remember, Sam Cassell was a defensive player when he was in the league. So he knows a little bit about defense.
Playing decent D, outstanding facilitator, shoot the mid-range.
Exactly.
Sam would get you a bucket when you need it in the clutch, whatever.
Hey,
Sam
he
was
know,
that dude.
he know that point guard position.
Yes,
He
yes.
knows
Sam
the
was
point
that
guard
dude.
position.
Any bucket he could get.
Yep.
Any bucket. You know what I'm saying? That's not even any bucket. But the thing about it, I would push back on what man said earlier. I wouldn't say the Knicks are the favorite coming in the next year though.
No, they get Durant. I can say they are.
Yeah,
Because when you get because the boy in Boston, his ACL, you don't know when he's coming back.
it ain't gonna be-
The
Tatum
Bucks
not coming
the
back.
Bucks
Yeah,
are getting
you
rid of
watch.
Giannis.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Cleveland has already shown we good in the beginning, but shit at the end. You know what I'm saying? So it's wide open in the East.
No, it ain't. Indiana, you forgetting them.
I'm not forgetting. I'm not forgetting Indiana.
Forgetting them.
What I'm saying is, I'm doing the same thing I've been doing for the last 3 years, just negating Indiana until they get to the spot that they need to get to. Then we talk about Indiana. But you got to remember that Indiana went to the championship, the Eastern Conference Finals last year. So you know what I'm saying? This championship stuff ain't new to Indiana. But like I said, I think if the Knicks get Kevin Durant, we're talking about the Knicks in a whole different light. Especially if they get somebody Sam Cassell to coach them.
Man, let me ask you this. If you're the Knicks organization, you got to choose to go after Durant or Giannis. Where you going?
I'm going after Durant. I'm not going after Giannis because I got to give up too much to get him. You know what I'm saying? I got to give up too much in my organization.
Why do you think Phoenix wouldn't ask for a king's ransom for Durant?
Because two things. One, Phoenix can't afford Kevin Durant. They got a clear market. They got to clear all that money out of their system because they got to rebuild. So they're in the rebuilding process. So I can see Durant and leaving. What's his name? What's the other guy name?
Devin Booker.
Yes, I can see Devin Booker getting traded too. Okay, but Kevin Durant, he has a say, but he doesn't have a say. You know what I'm saying? He can say I want to leave and say, well, I prefer to play for the team, but in actuality, Phoenix still controls them. Giannis is different. Okay, Giannis is a little bit different than what it is. Milwaukee's going to get rid of Giannis if he wants to leave, and they're going to ask for a king's ransom because they can do
they
it.
are.
Okay,
Yes,
Giannis is going to be the Herschel Walker trade for the NBA.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what Giannis is going to be. The Herschel Walker trade. Somebody is going to get a deep, young, poor players.
Just like the PG. Just like the PG trade. Yeah.
Well, let me ask y'all this then. All right, so we all can agree that Giannis is going to demand a king's ransom, right? So if you Dallas, you Houston, or you or the Spurs, you know one of those young teams, do you like which one of those young teams you think can survive like what Giannis can potentially do to their roster in order to get him?
Houston.
But see, I think it's a bad trade for Houston. I think the only one that really benefits is going to be San Antonio or Dallas.
The big boy in the middle down. Let me stop right here, man. The big boy in the middle down in Houston. I can't remember his name. The big center, Zubac or something. Is that his name? I don't know his name. But anyway, big guy,
I forgot his name. I know you're talking about Joe.
Him. I would offer him and Jalen Green for Giannis. I offer them two for Giannis.
The thing is,
make the move.
Right, but see, the thing is Houston is a great team, is a good team now with their young runners and everything. I wouldn't break up their nucleus just because what they did this year and how OKC and Indiana are operating, how the NBA is going. But if Giannis going to Dallas does this. First, it makes Milwaukee better because they get the first round pick. Okay, and then anything else that they get. So Milwaukee can start over. Now it makes Anthony Davis better because now Giannis is playing his rightful position as a power forward. Okay, So that takes the pressure off of Anthony Davis. The only question about Dallas is when does Kyrie return? Okay, so that's what make me say if I'm going to give up my first round pick or not.
But
now, San
ahead,
Antonio is a different story though. Giannis can get that boy that's sitting there to start playing hard and take away some of their stress points. Oh man, they can be great over there in San Antonio.
They would have to give up something too, though.
Yeah, I don't like him in San Antonio.
No. They got first round draft picks. They got 2 first round draft picks.
I don't like him in San Antonio.
I heard that too, Clayton. I ain't really, you know what I mean? I don't know.
They got the rookie of the year. They got the big boy down there. And they get Giannis on there. They can legitimately make a run for it now.
I'm not doubting that. I'm just saying, I think whatever team that trade for him, I think they're going to have to give up important pieces. You know what I'm saying? I really think they would have to give up important pieces. So if I'm the team that's trading for Giannis, I want to give up pieces I can live with leaving. You know what I'm saying? And if you Milwaukee, it got to be fair to us too. The Dallas thing, I didn't even think about the number 1 pick. That's cool. But they might have to give up more than just the number 1 pick to get them. You know what I'm saying? They might have to give up more than just the number 1 pick.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Let me say this, right? I kind of agree with Tunk, right? Because all right, so if you give up Jalen Green is a young guy. I think Jalen Green got some. He got, some teams might see Jalen Green as having some upside, right? And then you got to do Şengün, right?
Şengün, that's him.
So all right, so if you give up Şengün and you give up Jalen, you might be able to get away with giving up those 2, Şengün and Green, and then you still got enough talent on that team that you could surround Giannis with.
Right.
Whereas though they are they are formidable right away.
Ain't no question.
Right away they are formidable, right?
Ain't no question.
But if you try to do that in San Antonio, the only piece San Antonio really have is Wemby.
Mm-hmm.
But San Antonio wouldn't give up. They wouldn't give up players. They give up picks.
Right.
That's our point. That's our point. And Milwaukee might well, where are you picking? First of all, we don't want to give them up for a second round.
They already know where they're picking.
And what you say?
They already know where they're picking. The lottery was already done.
But no.
San Antonio has number 2, and number 8.
They got to go deeper than that. They can't just say, all right, we're going to give you number 8 for Giannis. They got to give up more than just that. So they can give
up the number 2 and the number 8 for Giannis. Yeah. So you got to remember that, Milwaukee is going to take the best offer on the table. They're not sitting there just to say, let me see what you have. If Giannis say they don't want to play for him no more, everybody in the league knows it.
No, we know that part. We know that part. But what I'm saying is they also, that's why I said the Jalen Green and the guy Şengün, because it's you can add them to your roster, they're starters, and they can help you right now. With picks, it's always a coin flip with a pick. It's always like, all right, how is he going to work? We got to work with the offense. How is he going to be a professional? Things like that. You know what Jalen Green and you know what Şengün, they coming in. You can line up immediately today.
I'm gonna tell you the real thing that matters when it comes to rebuilding a team is what you're paying your players. Okay, you get their 2 first round draft picks. That means you're paying them rookie contracts. Okay, which makes a difference when you're rebuilding a team. And that's look like if Milwaukee trades Giannis, then it looks like they're in rebuild mode.
But see, rebuilding don't have to always be rookies or guys, you know what I'm saying, in 1 or 2 years in. That necessarily don't have to be, you know what I mean, the definition of rebuild. If they get Jalen Green and they get Şengün, you can still say they're rebuilding, but they still can compete.
Right, but what the thing is about rebuilding is this. You get those 2 guys, what do those 2 guys' contracts look like? And then with their contracts, how long do you have them under contract?
That's another thing about the NBA too. Numbers got to match up.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. When it comes to rookies, rookies have no numbers. Rookies have solid, straight rookie deal contracts.
But no, that's what I'm saying though. So that wouldn't be really an option for Milwaukee because they gotta fill that salary that Giannis is taking with them. So they would have to get a Jalen Green that's getting paid X amount. And
If they move Giannis, they don't have to pay Giannis contract unless that's what they negotiate with the new team.
No, that's not what I'm saying. The guys coming in got to be a certain percentage of the guy that's leaving.
No, that's why they're getting a rookie contract.
Okay, no, I'm not talking about rookies. You keep talking about rookies. I'm talking about if Jalen Green and Şengün come in, their contracts would line up with Giannis is getting paid now. Yeah,
possibility.
You know what I'm saying?
Possibility. But when you start to rebuild, you rebuild for the long term, man. So if I have a rookie that's on a 5-year contract and I can get 2 of them, so if I go to San Antonio, hey, what you going to give me for Giannis? Let me give you both my first-round draft picks this year. Okay, so now I got 2 first-round draft picks that I can give. They're going to be on a 5-year deal. Okay, so they got the rookie contract 5 years. So now you know you have 5 years to start building back up again, the same way that Indiana did it, and the same way OKC did. Once we got that rookie deals in, let's bring everybody else in to complement it. I'm just thinking, like I said, one thing I don't want to see is Giannis go to the Lakers. That's the one thing I don't want to see.
Why you don't want to see that?
Because then the NBA is rigged. Okay, then the NBA is rigged.
It's been rigged, man. It's been rigged.
Listen,
it's been rigged.
I do not. If Giannis goes to the Lakers, I am done watching the Lakers. Okay, I'm done.
Jalen Rose. You think Patrick going to New York wasn't rigged? You think the boy going to Chicago wasn't rigged? You think LeBron?
I ain't saying that. I'm not saying that. But we have seen the situation where the Lakers go get Shaq. I have no idea why the Lakers went and got Shaq, but the Lakers go to get Shaq. Lakers go to get Kareem. Lakers always seem to get those high-end goals.
The Lakers got Will.
Who's Superman? What's Superman name from Orlando? What was his name?
Dwight Howard.
They always seem to go get that high-end center that everything else wants.
That's right. That's right.
So let me ask y'all this.
That's a premier franchise. That's right.
Let me ask y'all this. So are you, man? Do you think that if the Lakers get Giannis, you think that almost guaranteed them a trip to the finals if they get Giannis?
I think it will, because I'm gonna tell you that it gives LeBron one more year. Because if they get that, LeBron is staying another year.
I don't have that kind of confidence in LeBron. I'm sorry.
But
you don't have to have it, Mike. You don't have to have it.
Yeah, I'm talking about LeBron being LeBron of 10 years ago because he doesn't have to do that no more.
You don't even have to
I'm just saying that will add an extra year to LeBron. LeBron may do something like, look, bring me off the bench. Let me give you 15, but I want to play on his team.
He ain't gonna come off the bench. But you talking about Giannis, Luka, LeBron. Who that guy that was helping them out this year scoring? Connect, what's his name?
Dalton Connect.
Connect.
And what's the other kid name? What's the guard name?
It was another guy. Who?
Austin Rivers.
Rivers?
Austin Rivers.
Yeah, man. No, they gone, man. They out of here.
Let me tell y'all something about that roster with LeBron. You got LeBron, you got Rivers, you got Giannis on there. Giannis come from a team now where he suffered because he didn't have a point guard that could play defense. Now you bringing Giannis to a team where as though you not only have a point guard that can't play defense, you got a power forward and you got 3 players around Giannis who can't play defense. He'll be in a worse predicament in LA than he was in Milwaukee. Terrible.
No
defense.
Let me say this, Mike.
And bro, my
Let me say this.
My fault, Jim. You're right, Bronny. Don't forget he got Bronny.
Mike, let me say this. That firepower, that offense will put so much pressure on teams that alone will take from their legs.
You got to be the bad boy Pistons if you got Giannis.
You ain't lying.
That team.
Yeah,
I hope that Giannis do go to the Lakers.
Go there.
Stop up here next year.
Listen, if he goes to the Lakers, I'm gonna tell you 2 things is going to happen.
Giannis with Luka.
Yes.
Luka, he played from one 3-point line to the other. I don't care if he lost 17 pounds last week. defense is in your heart, man. You gotta want to play
Not
defense.
believe that, Mike, when I see that on the court, man. I don't care what you do. You know what I'm saying? They say all this stuff all season. Remember, they used to say Ben Simmons, man, shooting the ball, you know what I mean, 50% from three and all that. That don't translate to the games, man.
I'm gonna tell you two things is gonna happen if that happens. One, I'm not watching the Lakers because I'm sick of seeing them getting them set up.
Man, I'm watching.
And two, I am not playing NBA 2K26. Okay,
Man, you gotta watch.
I'm not getting on into 26.
Man, banner 18 going up, man. You gotta watch, man.
Yeah, how you not gonna watch? You a LeBron man. How you not gonna watch that?
I am not watching the Lakers if they pick up Giannis because at this point the Lakers are rigged. No,
So
we're not going to do it.
I watch them because it ain't gonna be nothing but it's gonna be a circus.
Mike, why
The
you do that, Mike?
whole
Mike,
thing
why
is
you
a
do that,
big
Mike?
circus.
I don't think so, Mike.
I don't think so either. I
Giannis.
think that team right there is going to bring, I hate to say it, all that viewership back to that Showtime Lakers, and it's just going to, everybody going to want to watch it. They're going to want to watch Giannis play with Luka and LeBron and see what they can do. And I'm going to tell you one thing that should happen, though. If they do get Giannis, they need to fire the coach and get another coach in there that can actually coach them boys.
No. That's Mike and Clayton boy. No, that's Mike and Clayton boy. No.
I'm not saying that dude. I'm not saying that dude don't deserve to coach the NBA. I don't think he coach that team.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Gardner just kept though. JJ did a good job.
He ain't do bad.
He did a good job.
A couple times, not resting LeBron the whole second half. That's ridiculous, man. I mean, you can't, stuff like that he did. But all in all, he ain't do bad.
He crossed him down the stretch, but he ain't do a bad job.
But can you imagine him making decisions for? He always had time making decisions for LeBron and Luka. Now, can you imagine if you add Giannis into that mix? Like, it's like, when do I take these guys out? What matchups do I do? And all that other stuff, man. I just think, with a team like that, you need to call Phil Jackson back and be like, "Oh, Phil, come on,
man." Let me ask y'all this: so who gonna play defense? Like on that team, like who gonna play defense?
Giannis play defense.
Giannis play defense on Milwaukee, right? He don't even.
Yeah, Giannis play defense.
They're gonna play defense to the best of their ability, and it's gonna be enough.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Come on, man.
They gotta be the bad boy Pistons. You know what I'm saying? They
ain't gotta be enough, Mike.
Every other play, Giannis is getting dunked on. Giannis,
boy, there's a lot of hate
getting dunked
right
on.
You know where it's coming from, man. You know where it's coming from.
I know.
Mike don't dislike Giannis. He don't dislike.
Hold on. Hey, Mike, let me ask you a question.
It's about LBJ.
What if Giannis actually goes to Minnesota? Then what? What if Minnesota can sink in there with Giannis?
It's a wrap.
As far as what, Clayton? What you mean, Clayton? Run it down.
If he go to Minnesota?
Yeah.
No, I ain't gonna beat Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Especially if they don't give up. If they don't give up 2 things.
With those 96 Bulls record right there.
Who?
If he goes to Minnesota.
Yeah, they could challenge it. If you don't do no load management and all that, they could challenge it. Yeah. Well, no, it's Golden State record now. Yeah. Golden State broke the Bulls record.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, man, that's it right.
I think I still think that Giannis, in order for Giannis to be successful, he got to be careful with what team he align himself with. He need a team with.
I think he will.
Yeah, I think he need a team with a solid point guard. He already proved that when he was in Milwaukee. He need a solid point guard.
That's where he had his best, Mike.
Right. He needs a solid point guard, and so he just can't pick up and go to any old team, and they gonna be like,
So what you mean by success? Meaning him winning the championship?
Yeah. Okay. On his way back, getting himself back.
Is Giannis the top 5 player in the NBA right now?
I think so.
Top 3.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So you add a top 3 player to almost any roster, your chances going to increase tremendously. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, put it this way. The NBA is not going to do anything until that Giannis thing is settled. Okay.
What you mean, man?
I mean,
Probably.
every team that's in contention or want to be in contention is going to put their name in the hat and offer Milwaukee something. Okay. And they won't do anything like the Knicks. As much as I think the Knicks should go after Kevin Durant, they probably don't do that until Giannis lands somewhere, because they figure we can still get Giannis if he's out there.
I agree.
And that's what most of the teams in the NBA is going to do.
No,
I think Giannis to the Celtics, I think that's dangerous, because now you got teams that play defense. You got defense around Giannis, and you got a solid point guard.
Mike, who you give up for him? Who you give up for him?
Who would I give up?
I give up picks. I get rid of the unicorn. The unicorn ain't do nothing all year. I
would give up Tatum and the unicorn for Giannis.
I give up Brown and the unicorn.
I would keep Brown beside him because Brown would play the same role as what Middleton played when they was with Milwaukee.
Yeah. Tatum and Brown, I would give out anybody else they ask. I'll keep Tatum and Brown and give up anybody else.
I wouldn't give up Holiday. I wouldn't give up Holiday or Brown. I would keep those two, Holiday and Brown, with Giannis, and that's a championship package right now.
No. I'm kind of agreeing with Man. If you keep them two with Giannis, it don't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which two you keeping? Which two you keeping?
Keep what
if
two?
you keep Brown and Tatum with Giannis, it don't matter who you give up after that.
Where your point guard at? Where your point guard?
Well, Tatum definitely can facilitate. Brown can facilitate.
That's the same thing Phoenix tried with Butler,
right.
Durant.
But Brown and Tatum not those guys.
Right.
Yeah, but that's the same situation. Nah. You need a point. This dude Giannis needs a point guard.
He need to be fed.
Somebody set that table.
Yeah, he need to be fed.
He needs somebody set that table.
They gonna feed him. They gonna feed him. But plus, they got that boy come off the bench to play points for them.
Pritchard. You talk about Pritchard?
Yeah. He might get into the rotation.
But let's talk numbers, right? Let's talk numbers real quick. What's the name? You know, they're under new ownership. Boston is. They're under new ownership. They on the hook for $700 million for Tatum and Brown. Yep. $700 million in guaranteed contract, right? Between them, right? I don't know what Giannis' contract is. Right, I don't know what Giannis, but just say it's another 200, right? So you talk about almost $1 billion tied up into three guys. No way an owner gonna take that on. No way.
I don't know. You talking about three guys and all of them in their prime? I don't know, bro.
No way. They don't know. Owners that are businessmen first. Even if they win a title, 2 titles, 3 titles.
I don't know, bro.
That's not a return on $1 billion.
Listen, hey, you gotta, hey.
Yeah, it is.
Now I'm coming from the fact that I love my Cowboys. We will spend the money in hopes to win. And a team will do that. They will spend the money in hopes to win. Right now, the NBA is getting that little notch right now because you got the 2 teams in the finals that built from scratch. Whereas normally doesn't come like that, right? You know, in the NBA. But if any team has a chance to get Giannis and make them better, they're gonna spend that money. Because you got to remember, ultimately, winning brings people into the stadium.
And you know why they was trying to talk about Jaylen Brown on the trade block this year, because that second apron about to hit. These new owners didn't want to pay it, so his name came up in trade talks again.
Listen,
the owners say they didn't want to pay that second apron tax that's associated with you paying X amount of dollars over the luxury tax. So they're not going to add to that in the hope that they win the title. To them, that's not good business.
Well, see, the problem with the Celtics is going to be this: is they felt the team that they had last year was good enough to win it all. I mean, this year was good enough to win it all until he got hurt. So so they may say to themselves, we don't need Giannis because we could have. First of all, the Celtics has been beating on Giannis for the last 4 years now. Okay, they have been beating on Giannis. So them, it's like you said, tying up $1 billion because of Giannis may not even be feasible for them. But they may not think that Giannis is good enough to be on that team.
Right, they won without him, so they like we don't need him to win. Yeah, I know.
But now, if you put Giannis on somebody like Detroit, Okay.
Or like you say, the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? Who's dying for a championship, starving for a championship. Yeah, they might be willing to go. You know, Dolan and all them with that bread they got up there in New York. Yeah, they like, all right, we're
Like
doing.
I said, it's only a few teams that won't take Giannis. And I think the Celtics may or may not be that one team because they've been beating Giannis in their division. So they've been beating Giannis.
Well, let's just say that I agree. But the Celtics, they got a winning team and they got a lot of pieces. So if they wanted to make that move, and Tom make another good point, they even got Dirk White. So Dirk White could be on, you know what I mean? He could be in the conversations.
Yeah, in the mix one way or the other.
Right. So they got pieces.
So let's talk about this, though, that we haven't talked about. What do Milwaukee need? Or what do we think Milwaukee's looking for? Because we're only going to the side of, Giannis helping the team.
But they more than one piece away, though. That's why, man. Milwaukee is more than one piece away. They got to build a roster.
Right. You know I'm getting ready to say Milwaukee looking to rebuild. That's what it's time to scrap that project, start over.
Yeah. So do you think they're going to start over in the draft, or do you think they're going to, try to find pieces here and there? What direction do you think they're going to start in?
I think it's both, man. I think they're going to, do the draft and then get some inexpensive, maybe some inexpensive free agents. You know what I'm saying? To come in, fill the roster out, things like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think they just try and fill the roster out, man. And so,
load up on draft picks, man.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which I agree.
Yeah.
That's the way you do it, load up.
If you are Milwaukee, what do you do with Giannis' brother? You make him part of your rebuild.
No, he got with his brother. Whenever Giannis get traded, he got to go with him.
Yeah, once he gone, he gone. Yeah, he ain't gonna get traded with him, but he gonna get waived.
Yeah.
He might like it there. He might like it in Milwaukee.
Go with your brother. Your brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Let me ask y'all about this, man. I had a video I wanted to show about this though. Michael Beasley and Steve, what's the dude name? Stevenson.
Lance
Stevenson played one-on-one for $100,000.
Yeah.
Mike Beasley beat him 31. Yeah, 31-21, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mike Beasley is a beast one-on-one.
Mike, I don't think there's nobody that can beat him. I don't think there's nobody, man. This dude one-on-one.
My boy beat him.
Man, who that?
Michael Jordan beat him, and Michael Jordan was 50 years old when he beat him.
Well, if that's the case, Will Chamberlain can beat him. Will Chamberlain can beat him in the one-on-one, though. But I'm just saying,
yeah, you're right, though. You're right. Like, Lou, everybody say, man, that's somebody you do not want to see in a one-on-one. And Mike showed up. Yep. And Mike showed up with like blunts in his pocket and some more stuff, man, and still beat this dude, man.
This dude, man, his game just don't translate to the NBA game. But you talk about like one-on-one, man. I ain't seen, what's the name said, there's no perimeter player in the history of the league that could beat Kevin Durant in one-on-one, right? Mm-hmm. I think Mike Beasley can beat him, man. I'm telling you, man.
Kevin Durant said that Mike Beasley is the best one-on-one player that you know what I mean? Yeah. Kevin Durant even give him his props for one-on-one.
Yeah, man. That's crazy, man. Everything you see him, and y'all know the big three supposed to be coming down the arena in a few weeks.
I didn't know that.
They came last year.
One of my friends works with Coke, and they sponsor it, so he gets it free every year.
Really?
Yeah.
My man.
But see, you know what? I'm not really
all freed up. We should try to get down there, man.
No doubt.
I'm not really hyped on the big three no more because a lot of the superstars now aren't old superstars like it was when they first started the big three. Yeah. The big three used to have all those big names playing with them and doing it, but now it's like they stopped it.
But the thing about it is, it seemed like to me, man, I haven't watched it in a couple seasons, but it seemed like you just said before, they'll be playing in the NBA now. And then that summer they're in the big three. This guys in the big three now been retired 7-8 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't know that name. And like I watched one big three game last year, and I'm like, I don't know none of these cats
I
on
seen no
16.
Mobley in there one time. I'm like, man, who was that? I thought it was somebody's grandfather, like Uncle Drew.
Yeah.
It was Tino Mobley. I ain't know it was him. I ain't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, let me ask y'all this, right? I watched videos of Mike Beasley too. Mike Beasley got great footwork, but do you think some of his footwork, do you think some of that is traveling? I'm old school. I be thinking some of that is traveling to me.
All that is a walk now, Mike. All that stuff is a walk now, man. Ain't none of that, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like you say, back in the day, they would call that a walk. Now they don't.
Yeah.
Because they didn't even call walking anymore. Like,
I'll tell you what, though, Mike Beasley physical as hell. He's physical as shit.
He say physical.
Yes.
Big, man.
Yeah. But he lean and cut. He lean and cut though. But he gets it. He played jail ball.
Right. Remember the one year when he was at K-State?
He'd be nice out Jessup.
What?
He'd be nice out Jessup.
Yes. He played that jail ball.
The one year he was at K-State when everybody wanted him coming out of high school, and he went to K-State because his AU coach got the job out there as assistant. He went to K-State, and that surprised me. I'm like, you going to K-State? But he said, man, if this AU coach would have got a job in Hawaii, he'd have went to Hawaii. Just to play under his AU coach, man. So back then, when he was one and done and he came in, I thought he was going to be way better. You know, he was a lottery pick and everything. I thought he was going to be a lot better than his career turned out being. Yep. That's it, Click.
There was stuff going on with him mentally, man.
Yes, sir.
He was struggling. He had a lot of demons and stuff.
Yes, sir.
That's what Mike problem was mentally, because physically Mike got the game. He got all the tools and stuff like that. I thought if Mike could have adapted himself to somebody's program and played in a under their structure, it'd have been crazy. Mike Beasley would have been just would have been crazy, man. But he was so nice that he could go against the grain and still have a certain amount of success. That's why Mike Beasley, he's so popular as he is now, because you know what I mean? Like, everybody know, but like, this dude got it, but it's just a disconnect between like his physical and his mental game.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can relate to him because he's transparent about his struggle.
Yeah.
And people gravitate to that. They can feel him, you know? It's almost like, you know, like when Tupac was pouring out his heart. Like Mike Beasley, especially when he did that Pivot podcast, everybody could relate to him and feel him, man. So they love him, man. He definitely a popular guy.
People root for Mike Beasley too.
They root for him. Yes.
They see that talent and that potential there. They like, man, this dude.
Yeah.
Where did he go, man?
Always like, and I say, man, one-on-one with this dude, you're not beating him.
Yeah.
They told him open run one time, man, and he was just doing what he wanted. And I mean, he was out there with Harden, he was out there with LeBron, he was out there with Melo, and he was just doing what he wanted. He was just doing what he wanted.
Hey, I'm not LeBron bashing, right? But they say when they played in Miami, he used to beat LeBron every day.
God, Mike. How you gonna start the sentence about LeBron?
He used to beat LeBron every day in practice.
Hey,
one-on-one.
We start. We know where it's going. Even before you start, man.
You should have started the sentence off. Yes, I'm ready LeBron bash right now. Mike Beasley used to torch him.
Yeah, you might as well. Hey, Mike. Man. You might as well let that be your moniker, bro. You might as well let it into it, man. For real. Let that be your moniker. Put it up on your screen. The #1 LeBron hater. And just let it be your moniker, man.
You're like, we know where this is going. But Lance Stevenson, he's in that big three, though, isn't he? Isn't he playing that big three?
Well, at one time he was. I don't know if he still is.
Okay.
Well, you know what they did to the big three, right? The NBA threatened the big three.
They what?
They threatened the big three.
They've been doing that, though, man. They've been
right. They've been doing it, but that's why they started to tell the stars, the basketball players, if you continue in the big three, you won't be in the NBA. You won't be in the NBA legends and all that stuff. So that's why you don't see a lot of that's why you don't see a lot of the NBA. And it wasn't the NBA, it wasn't the NBA itself, it was the NBA union. So you gotta remember, the NBA union takes care of a lot of the older NBA players as far as healthcare and all of that stuff.
I did hear Ice Cube said the NBA was undermining them to some degree.
Because
I
they
ain't know
won't
that was
use
spread
none
out.
of their venues. They won't use none of their venues. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
stuff like
Right.
that.
They won't let
And you
them
got to
use
remember too that the Ice Cube is using their players, and the NBA is not getting anything from it.
So what you mean? You say I thought they was all retired. They not playing. The current players are not.
No,
No.
Jalen Brown did Ice Cube solid. He played one time.
Really?
Jalen Brown,
Yeah.
yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Listen,
All right.
just
But
because
hey,
you're retired, the union still pays stuff like your health care benefits
Yeah, things
and
like that.
retirement funds and stuff. Because every NBA player isn't on $4 and $5 million contracts and stuff. The key is the regular NBA players that we don't talk about much. That was the 10th, 11th, 12th man on that bench. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
That's where the unions and the benefits and stuff comes around for them.
Go ahead, Mike. What you about to say? Go, Mike. What you about to say?
once you are an NBA player and the NBA owns you, they own you for life. So they can use that union. They don't have to directly go at you. They can use that union to go at you, because if you hurt yourself, you twist a knee or break a leg or something, that still comes out of that pool, that money that they had set aside for those players. So it's basically, it's a business thing. They own you for life, and people don't really.
Crazy, man. So
Hey, it's a retirement plan. It's a retirement plan.
All right, listen though. We you know what I mean? We all want to be fortunate enough to retire from our jobs one day. Some of us have already. And you know, you get a medical pension and things like that. They can't tell me I can't go out here and do whatever line of work I want to do, or they not going to pay my health benefit.
They can't tell.
But they can.
They can.
Because let's say this. Let's say they paying your health benefits and you decide to be a professional motorcycle rider and do jumps and dirt bikes and stuff. They can deny your health insurance at that point.
It could be in the language. It could be in the language of your coverage.
That's
right.
I never knew that. I never knew that.
And then you got to also too remember this. The whole premise behind the Big Three, it was always ex-NBA stars. You know what I'm saying? So when you put that in front of your name, let's say I don't know, Manuel such and such, ex-NBA star is playing in my league. Then that's like a friend's benefit type of thing, because they're using the ex-NBA part to negotiate and push forward the talent in their league.
Yeah, I get that part. Yeah.
That may be what's contributing to the lesser name recognition that's going on in the league now.
Oh yeah,
They get a lot of players we don't know and stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I did hear a year ago. My fault, Mike. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Oh, it's the nostalgia part of it, right? So like when you bring up a guy like Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, and we know him from LSU, then we remember him playing at Denver. We're like, oh, that's, you know what I mean? We will tune in for Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf because of the nostalgia part of it. And the NBA, I mean, it's all a business with them.
But they didn't stop him though.
No.
I think I don't know if he was looking to sell, but he was looking for business partners like other investors.
Right.
Ice Cube was. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you who they did stop though that I read about. White Chalk and Jason Williams. They stopped him from they stopped him from going into the.
Did they say why? Did they say why, man? Did they say why?
No, they never said why. They just said Ice Cube said they offered him a contract and he turned it down and he said because of
Allen Iverson, he had signed with him and then he didn't even show up.
Right.
He cut them right off. So Allen Iverson is with Reebok, right?
Reebok,
yeah. So man,
didn't he try to play and then quit? I thought he played 2 games and quit.
I don't know if he played a few games. I know he quit on them.
He quit.
All that saying to me, explain that to me. All that makes sense now. It makes sense. If, like you say, if you tied to the NBA for the rest of your life, it makes sense why. Because I would always say, why they ain't in the Big Three? They should go to the Big Three. Because I'm saying, help push that forward. You know what I'm saying? But now y'all saying that. Yeah. Okay.
If the Big Three was sponsored by the Big Three was sponsored by the NBA, and the NBA got a cut of that money, it wouldn't be no question.
Ain't no question about it. It
wouldn't have been no question about it.
They have commercials on in the middle of the game and all that stuff.
They be playing on NBC and all that good stuff.
I think it's dope, though. I think it's dope that Cube is still continuing the league and he's been around this long without their support. I think that's dope.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So he getting sponsorships. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
getting television deals. Yeah.
Deal to add the games. Yeah.
So let me ask y'all this, right? So when you have the big three, that's Ice Cube's league, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the summer tournament, the basketball tournament, where you have like Boeheim, the dudes from Syracuse, the dudes from ex-college players from like Ohio State.
That winner take all tournament, Mike? You talking that winner take all tournament? Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That winner take all $2 million tournament. But those guys are like college stars who really didn't stick in the NBA.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that they probably not having the issues that what Ice Cube is having.
They had a guy that's from here, man. What's the guy that was from here? Went to Patterson.
Green?
No, the short guy, Amir Carr. He was playing in that tournament. He was playing in that tournament. When I was watching that winner take all tournament, man, it was names that popped up that I hadn't heard in years. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow, that's where he at. In Amir Carr, he was one of the guys that, you know what I mean, that popped in my head when I see him. I'm like, damn, okay, all right. And I ain't heard about this guy since he left high school.
It's amazing how big business work, though. Like you can start up a business or something that you think is a unique idea, but then they already got in writing somewhere else and somebody else, you know what I mean? That way as though they like, well, now it's hard, man.
And then it ain't even off the ground, Mike. They just own the rights to it or something. It's not even off the ground or anything, but they own the rights to it. And like you say, I'm gonna put this in, and I'm gonna implement this and put this in motion. They like, well, no, you gotta talk to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta talk to them. Yeah.
But despite it all, Ice Cube is successful.
Oh, ain't no question.
No doubt.
Ain't no question about it. You know what I mean? You commend them for that. You definitely commend them for that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But see, but then you gotta look at it this way. Why other leagues? I mean, why it's hard for everybody else to do something in other leagues? Like, you know how easy it would be to start another football league or flag football league and have ex-NFL players and stuff? NFL just ain't gonna have it. You know what I'm saying? If they're not part of it, you can't use none of it. Huh?
Man, you can't do that with football either, though.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You can't do that with football.
Right.
Their shield, it goes from the beginning to the end. From the time you decide to play football, they try to regulate Pop Warner and everything else that goes along with it, to the time that you end, because they want to regulate, your health insurance and what they want you to do as far as after your career is over.
Well, a part of it too is these other leagues, they struggle. TV partners struggle to get in bid because it's just not going to create no viewership and revenue. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always going to be looked at as a secondhand league, lesser talent. Because the big names play in the NFL. So you always looking at them off-brand leagues as this shit's off-brand. You don't think it's no good quality football.
They're not going to have following. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have support. Yeah. You're right.
Prime example is the XFL World League thing that they got going on. Championship game is the day. They wouldn't have had a following if The Rock didn't sign a contract with the NFL.
Right.
He had to physically go sign a contract with the NFL.
Ain't no question about it. You need Big Brother to stamp it.
Right. He needed them to stamp it. If he didn't get that stamp of approval, Fox would have never gave him that contract.
Oh, absolutely.
But never gave it to him.
Yeah.
I think if Isaiah Thomas had better relationships in the league, if he didn't fracture so many relationships, he could have had some partners when he created that alternative league. Remember, he had that farm league kind of for the NBA, and they crushed that shit. But he could have got some other people to get in bed with him, but he just didn't follow those relationships.
After that, they started the summer league after that. It
was like CBA, something like that, Tom.
CBA. Yeah. You know, that was like you said, that was almost like a farm system.
Yes.
Back in the day. Yeah.
I thought it was a great idea, but it was just, Isaiah just don't have the relationships, but I always thought that, Michael, Magic, and a few other people could have got together and created a league, and young players would have wanted to play in that league just because of whose league it was, and I'm sure they could have got TV partners and everything. Why you say no?
Why you say no, Mike?
No. it's about monopolies. They're not gonna let you do that. I don't care how popular Mike is, how popular. You know what? They asked Eddie Murphy a while ago why him and Oprah Winfrey and a lot of other movie stars don't get together and start and do their own thing. And Eddie Murphy said he just came flat out and said, "No, you talking about putting your physical health at risk when you do stuff like that. They don't want you to do that. You're not gonna be able to do that. Sure, you got the talent and you got the notoriety and stuff like that, but they set up these monopolies for a reason so they can control stuff. You're not doing it.
But
That's
the reason,
why
when
you look at like the Negro leagues in baseball, they took 1 or 2 black players from the teams, and then the rest of that league, you had owners down there that had teams that were qualified or good enough to play in the majors, but they didn't want that. They wanted to control everything. So they shut those little venues down from, wait a minute, Clayton. They shut those venues down so the black owners, no black owners came from the Negro leagues and then went into the major leagues. But when you had 2 white leagues who merged, the NBA and the ABA, they merged. The NFL, you had the AFC and the NFC.
No, AFL
They're not
and
going to
NFL.
allow you.
Yeah,
Well, you had 2 leagues that merged. They're not allowing black people to be doing. They not going to do that, Clayton.
It ain't about allowing. The problem is black folks sell out.
No,
you buy these guys. Yes, you buy these guys. Michael Jordan.
Go ahead.
Michael Jordan getting hundreds of millions from Nike, getting this, that, and the other. People don't want to start something from scratch and take the same path, small venues, this is the problem. It ain't about allowing. Nobody can stop you from doing whatever you want to do. The problem is you want to make certain amount of money. You don't want to take that long. The NBA, the Major League Baseball, they wasn't making billions. They started from scratch and they built their league. Now they can try to push venues and stuff like that. But in this day and age, it's so much out here, so many opportunities, so many different places you can put a show on. And in some small towns that don't have no pro stuff, that you can bring your shit to that town, stuff like that. These guys want money. They want to go from 0 to 60. They don't want to grow something from scratch. So they sell out.
Let me address that. When you can't talk about and say that black people don't want to start from the bottom.
I didn't say black people.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we don't want to. This is the thing. Black people came directly out of slavery, right?
I didn't say black people. I didn't say black people.
1865, black people came directly out of slavery.
I did not say black people. I said when you got black guys that's millionaires, they all.
All right, so look, this what happened. Like, black people came directly out of slavery, right? And they set up their own towns. They had everything. Their towns ran the way white people towns ran, right? And so white people shut that shit down. So you can't say that black people are not going to be able to start up, that they don't want to do it. Michael Jordan he is under the Nike umbrella for a reason. Michael Jordan is very popular. He under Nike umbrella for a reason. If Nike allowed Michael Jordan to go out and start his own tennis shoe thing, yeah, he could do that, but they're not going to do it. It's not going to happen.
Stop for a second. Mike does have his own tennis shoe brand.
Yeah.
He's under the Nike umbrella.
Jumpman.
Not anymore.
Listen, no.
From Nike.
Not anymore.
His Jumpman is distributed by Nike.
Right.
He owns Jumpman.
Yes.
There's
He's
a difference.
distributed by Nike, right?
Yes.
Right. He's distributed
Just like if
by
you had
Nike.
a record label, you had a record label and you tried to distribute yourself, you would set yourself up.
That's right.
You put
Motown did it.
That's right.
Motown. They was distributed by something else.
It was either
Jordan has his Jordan brand, and he also has Jumpman.
Let me jump in real fast. The Nikes that he wore when he was playing, they are under Phil Knight.
Yes.
All these different ones that they come out with now, those are the Michael Jordan part. But that Jumpman logo and all that was under Nike. Phil Knight. Michael Jordan is the biggest cash cow Nike ever had. He's not going to turn him loose 100%. He get a stipend from Nike every year. Like I said, hundreds of millions of dollars a year, he get a stipend. So they're still paying him. Now, if they paying Michael Jordan $200, $300, $400 million a year, what is Nike making off of Michael Jordan?
Air Jordans.
That's the thing.
Listen,
That's because Air Jordans still sell.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Like once he moved, that we all had the poster when he had the black and red on, and he got the Jumpman logo, left hand dunk.
Listen.
All that is under Phil Knight.
Listen. I hear what you're saying.
Air Jordans.
I hear what you're saying. But Jumpman is Michael Jordan's brand.
Yeah.
But
it's not. Listen. Hold. Let me finish. It's distributed by Nike.
Right.
But Michael Jordan owns Jumpman. Nike owns Jordan. You can look that up anyway. Jumpman is Jordan's brand. It's his spinoff.
What you say before that? Nike owns who?
Jordan. Nike owns Jordan.
Air Jordan.
But they don't own Jumpman.
Right.
But all right, man, let me ask you this then. All right. But what difference do it make if you can't distribute it? That's just like if you make a hit song, you can't distribute it without their say so and their consent and their control.
No, that's not how that works. Because let's say Nike and Jordan has a fallout. Jordan can actually take Jumpman to Reebok, and Reebok will distribute Jumpman. That's the difference. I
don't think so.
No, that's not true. They got contracts in place. You can't take that anywhere. The Michael Jordan can't take. Listen. I keep saying this. The shoes that Michael Jordan wore when he was a player, up until he stopped playing, it was that 02. Up until
you're talking about Jordan. You're talking about Jordan. You're not talking about Jumpman.
So, okay,
Jumpman and Jordan are two different things.
Let me say this, Tom.
Go ahead.
Mike Mother understood his power. So before you sign any deal, you have to understand your power, what you bring in and everything else. You can dictate the terms of your contract and who you do business with. Because when you got people that's consuming you as a person, you got power. People want to do business with that. It's that simple.
So
he signed that deal.
Are you telling me that Michael Jordan mother, are you telling me that Michael Jordan mother, no disrespect to Michael Jordan mother, she was an astute enough business person to outmaneuver these guys who've been doing business for hundreds of years, even before she even.
Well, he was the first one. He was the first one to have part ownership of the shoe.
Hold up, and Clayton, and let me get you this point. Where was Nike at when they first signed Michael Jordan? They was a running
shoe. They was a track shoe. They wasn't even a big player.
Nike wasn't what you think Nike was right now.
It wasn't a big player.
Nike was getting beat by Converse.
Yep.
They was getting beat by Puma.
Yep.
Beat by everybody. Adidas.
Mike wanted to go to Adidas.
Right.
So they was getting beat by everybody. Yes.
Yeah, but that still don't support, you know what I mean, like the point that you're making though.
Only point I'm making is nobody can stop you from doing anything. Now, you determine whether or not you want to do it or not based on what you're trying to get from it. And I'm saying those guys didn't want to grow something from scratch. They were already millionaires, multi-millionaires. It's hard once you accustomed to a certain lifestyle, economic status, to start something from scratch. When you talk about other business owners coming together and starting a league, maybe they had the financial means and the cachet to grow something from scratch and take their time with it or whatever. But nobody can't stop you from doing anything you want to do. Only you.
So let me bring this full circle, right? We started off with the big three. And saying, like, if the NBA wasn't in Ice Cube's way, that league would be a lot bigger than what it is.
Not sure. Maybe.
To me, I think so. Yes, I do. I think so.
That speaks to Mike's point. That speaks to Mike's point, whereas though they
don't know that.
Put like a dome over top of it, if you will. They put like he can't grow but so much.
But you can't really say that too, because if you're getting other superstars, you got to think about guys that's multi-millionaires getting big contracts in the NBA. He's a startup. Does he even have the kind of financial means and stuff to really lure superstars to that league? We don't know. You can't say that.
You mean false paying them?
Yes, absolutely. And
be retired though. That's what I always thought. Like former players, you know what I'm saying? You ain't
maybe, but then here again, when you retired, how much do, because some people quit because they know it's time. They don't want to put in all the work that's associated with continuing to play, traveling from city to city and all these other things. So it's a whole bunch that goes into that decision for players to play. It might not just be the NBA blocking them. You know what I'm saying? When you lose that fire, you lose that fire. And then another thing is 3-on-3 is different from 5-on-5. You don't know how appealing that is to a superstar.
Let me tell you, Ed,
I just think with the NBA trying to impede it, if they really trying to impede it, Ice Cube doing a hell of a job. He's not letting that stop him.
Hell yeah, he is.
And that's the ticket, like you said, full circle itself. The NBA does that to protect its brand, and that's why the NBA do what they do. Every sport does it. Baseball does it. Football does it. Every sport does it. It's up to the people that want to go outside the box to figure out how to make the money. You know what I'm saying? Ice Cube could have, let me tell you, Ice Cube could have easily started the same type of league overseas and probably made more money. You know, basketball overseas is a whole lot bigger than it is right now over in America. So, you know, he took the different route of getting the ex-NBA players, and he's continuing that format. It may work for him in the long run, and it may not work for him, you know, in the long run. But DC has the opportunity to figure it out and find out the track that he wants to go by. You know what I'm saying? Now, anybody will protect their brand no matter what their brand is. So if I was a basketball player, okay, and I seen a video game using my name, I want a piece of that. You know what I'm saying? Because NIL, prime example. That's the whole purpose of the NIL now, to make sure everybody gets paid from what their situation is.
Do you know how long it took people to even get to a point where they earning NIL money? People have been playing football, basketball, baseball for like over 100 years, and then colleges have been making all that money. So they wherever they set the level at, wherever they put that glass ceiling at is where they go, you know. And so that's why I said, you know, if it's in every industry, especially when you come to like entertainment and stuff like that, there's a glass ceiling. So
as long as you part of somebody else's industry,
you can't say that any group of people say, well, you don't want it because you're not trying hard enough, or you don't want it because people are so creative, people are so intelligent, people have the knowledge and everything to do that stuff. That's why there are roadblocks. That's why they have people that are gatekeepers and stuff like that to not allow you to do stuff like that. So the talent and the knowledge is there, but also you got to contend with the gatekeepers and the roadblocks.
And as long as you trying to enter their shit, you have a ceiling. People can start their own, but the money is slow.
Well, give me an example of what's not their shit.
What sport can we start? That we can.
You know how many independent artists made millions selling shit out their trunk, and then eventually you got distribution companies and stuff come to them because they got a fan base and market, and they offer them a big deal and sell them out. But people make money selling shit out their trunk. They travel from city to city. There's people that set up conference rooms and go from city to city, pushing their own thing, making a living.
Let me tell you this:
it's happening all over the country.
If that was an industry, then they would move in and take it over. Yeah, you can sell yarn off your porch, and if that became a thing where people were selling bubble gum on their porch or something like that, then big bank would take over little bank. They would move in and they would take that over. That's how rap started. People gave rap concerts and all those little things in the community, and rap grew. And then when another community saw that it was money there,
let me put this out there,
then they took that over.
Let me put this out there, you guys.
It's not like that, Mike.
To go to both of you guys' points, we do have something. We have had something since the 1960s. The Harlem Globetrotters. They were a traditional basketball team that did untraditional stuff on the court. Okay, Now, as that being said, why aren't they what we as black people consider the standards in basketball, and why we are not supporting them as much as we should or could have been? Because that's what we started. We started the trickery in basketball.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's the thing. Now, you do have these leagues that got monopoly on TV and all that exposure, but the Harlem Globetrotters still exist. They still touring the country, and they still surviving and making money and doing. That's why I say it all depends on what you're trying to get from it. If you're trying to get into somebody's industry, you want to get into the upper echelon league, the leagues that got monopoly on everything, you're going to have a glass ceiling. But if you want to do your own thing, people can make their own money and live well doing their own thing. The Grabbers was doing it. You got Master P and them, they were selling shit out their trunk. But the thing is, when these companies come with these $200, $300, $1 million deals, they sell out. But they was making fine. They was doing fine. The thing is, we get enticed by the American dream.
Clayton, that's 100% true. That's 100%.
I mean, but that's for everybody, though. That's not just.
That's 100% true, man. It's like when we trying to get into their thing. Okay, you only can go to the 8th floor. You can't get to the 10th floor. You only can get to the 8th floor, but the 8th floor to us is good enough. You know what I'm saying? It's good enough. And then we got these set of rules that you got to follow, you know what I'm saying, to be able to come in and join us. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the mentality that we have. Because let me tell you this. When I was in school, my teacher asked a question. If you could grow up, what would you rather be? And 90% of the students in there said, Michael Jordan, I want to be this, I want to be that. That's what they said. You know, 2 people in the class, and I remember this so well because it taught me a lesson. 2 people in the class said, I don't want to be none of them. Teacher asked them why. It's like, I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person that's signing their contract. Okay. I want to be the person signing their paycheck. I don't want to be Michael Jordan. I want to be the person that's paying Michael Jordan. Yes. Okay, it's a mentality set that we set on ourselves with the limitations of what we have. If you want to be an athlete, you can be the highest paid player athlete, but you can't be an owner. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're teaching our kids. And that just, when y'all was talking about that reminiscence, that just got my mind like, why aren't we trying to be the person that pays the athletes? Why aren't we trying to be the people that make the movies instead of being the actors in the movies?
Let me say something to Mike. Mike, I'm sorry you had to mute my mic. The reason I said it, I didn't want you to take what I was saying out of context. By no means am I making a broad statement for all black people. I'm saying when you got some that's broken through in certain industries and lived off certain luxuries, it's hard for them to want to go back and start something from scratch because they got a taste of something. But I'm sorry you had to mute my mic. I didn't mean to cut you off.
My thing is, I'm sitting here with 3 intelligent gentlemen, and I see y'all work hard, and y'all. So we all understand that, like when you chasing the American dream and you want to integrate yourself into somebody else's, the greater society, you want to integrate yourself into their society. Yeah, you're gonna reach you're gonna hit that glass ceiling, right? So. But you have to make your mind up within yourself, because in doing that, you're going to have to sell your soul and compromise your integrity in order to do that. And so a lot of people come into that realization that the money part of it is not worth it. And we see dudes like P. Diddy, we see dudes like R. Kelly, we see dudes like Jay-Z, Shannon Sharp. They having all these different type of difficulties because they chase that bag and they think that they are that they can be the exception to the rule, not realizing that when you chase that almighty dollar, then you set yourself up for these type of situations, right? So but my whole point was, and I apologize to you, Clayton, my whole point is that we are intelligent black men, right? And so we all are also capable of doing things like whatever we put our mind to, we can do. We can build. We can, you know what I mean? We can have successful families and stuff like that. But when we try to do other things, like, again, to my point is that's when other people outside of us are stepping, like our roadblock is not us. That's my main point. Like my roadblock is not me. it's more so about like what other people outside of our community try to put on. Well, I don't know if y'all disagree, but like people outside of our community, because I have seen Black people build before. You know what I mean? Right, directly out of slavery. You talking about people who didn't know how to so-called read and write and build towns and running towns better than the people that so-called owned them. So that's why I was like, nah, it's more to it. It's a little bit more to it than that.
But Mike, to your point too, and you're absolutely correct. We have the ability to build up. The problem is we also have the ability to tear down.
That's true.
Okay. And that's the problem with our communities. And I'm just going with a lot of the Black people in it, our rise always depends on somebody's fault. You know what I'm saying? That's how a lot of times in our communities we judge our success. Yes, we may, and prime example, yes, we may have a nice house, a nice car, and everything else, but it's not justified to us until we see that person that doesn't have it. You know what I'm saying? And then we're like, okay, I'm better than that person because I had it. Instead of saying I have and let me help the next person get. So, sometimes we kill ourselves as Black people or as a race, and all races do it. We're just more prone to it because we are in the Black communities and we are young Black men, successful Black men, and we see the struggles that our race goes through. But the simple fact is that a lot of times we measure our success on what our peers' downfall would be. And that's where we got to do it.
Clayton made a good point. And he said, once you had a taste of that so-called, success, now, you want to live a certain way. And you necessarily don't want to take your capital and invest it in something else because you take all the risks and things like that, right? And you could lose some of your lifestyle that you've gotten so used to, right? And I remember this was a few years ago, the Muhammad Ali Museum down there in Louisville, Kentucky. It was in danger of going bankrupt at one year. This might have been 10 years ago. It might have been in danger of going bankrupt. So the curators of the museum put out an all call across all sports. I mean, all sports people. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, man, we having some financial difficulties. And they say out of all these guys, I mean, you can name millions of them, hundreds of them, all these multi-millionaires. They say the only guy that showed up money in hand, I don't know if it was cash or whatever, was Lennox Lewis.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Not even Tyson?
Right. Now, see, that was then. Now, see, I don't know afterwards did something happen and you got, but at one time Mike was having some financial difficulties.
Yeah, that's true.
You understand? So, but I'm just talking about not a Derek Jeter, not an A-Rod, just basketball players. They didn't say anything about Mike. They didn't say anything about Kobe or Diesel. None of them. You know what I'm saying? And even if fall and stuff like that, I'm like, damn, no, none of y'all have a couple dollars to put up. Lennox Lewis came and they say Lennox Lewis, not only he put up money, he made a pledge every year.
Wow.
To donate a certain amount of money to the museum. So, you know what I mean? It can stay open or it can operate, you know what I'm saying, in the Black, as we say, and things like that. I thought that was real telling, man, that guys wouldn't say, no, man, ain't no way that museum should be in trouble here. And it's easy for me to say because it ain't my brain. You feel what I'm saying? But $100 to me might be 10,000 to them. You know what I mean? 100,000 of them. You know what I'm saying?
So, you made an excellent point, and the problem, and what's going on with it is this, and HBCUs has been suffering from it for years, for decades. Okay, we don't give back, and as a community, but like we will easily give back if I graduated from like Syracuse or something. They need some alumni. That's why the NIL money is so high because the alumni just gives. Okay. We as Black people, HBCUs are for us, by us, made by us. You know what I'm saying? So we don't even respect that aspect of the situation that these places need help. And I ain't talking about just the scholarship parts of it. I'm talking about campus up.
Just keeping it up. Just keeping it up.
Just keeping them worthy enough to be called colleges and universities.
What's the name gave a $20 million dowry to USC, Dr. Dre.
Right.
USC.
Yeah, to USC.
Remember that?
Like,
Did he even go there?
needed that.
No.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, $20 million, Mike, he gave to USC. You know what I'm saying?
And he never
But-
even attended that school.
Never even attended.
But yet, schools like Morgan, Coppin, and Bowie in Maryland,
Right.
the only way they can get their funding is from the state.
Right. And that $20 million will probably set them up for 10, 15 years. You
I
know?
don't know. So let me ask y'all this then. So, like for somebody like Dr. Dre, like what is the benefit of him like giving them that type of donation? Like, why would he benefit from giving them? And they already got it. Like,
Right.
why would he benefit from that?
Right. I don't think there is no benefit. I just think that that's a school in the neighborhood that, you know, they grew up around, you know what I'm saying?
And he want to be part of it.
And stuff like that. Yeah, but he wasn't part of that school. He's not no alumni or anything like that.
That's like me having a GED and giving John Hopkins some money.
Yeah. Why would you give some money?
I'm running down John Hopkins with some money in one hand and a GED in my back pocket, and then I like, here, y'all take this.
Right.
Like you made it big. You ready to give $1 million to a school, and you give it to John Hopkins.
Right.
When John Hopkins wasn't there for your struggles.
Right.
They don't have nothing to do with your community.
That's
you know, nothing. They don't
That's right.
choose you. But you want to give Hopkins
You remember, man, when Johns Hopkins was forcing them people out over there in East Baltimore.
And they still are.
The city was taking their property taxes way down, so Johns Hopkins could come in and buy up the blocks. You know what I'm saying?
And they still doing it.
They still doing it, man. They still doing it.
East Baltimore from Broadway to Eastern Avenue is all John Hopkins.
Yep. And they go in there and they take their property taxes way down, so Johns Hopkins can come in there and swoop up all the property. You know what I'm saying? If you're renting over there, you can't buy nothing. Because once we tear everything down and build up, you ain't gonna be able to afford it. You're gonna be able to afford it.
Sometimes people you're in business with, like a Dr. Dre or somebody, sometimes people within your business partnerships, they may be getting or receiving something for kickbacks going to USC. So they'll convince a Dre to listen, I want you to donate this to USC, you know. So some of that stuff, you know, he'll get the brand recognition, but sometimes it be like the people he in business with, part of his team, part of Interscope, like Jimmy. It could be anybody he's affiliated with, convincing him to do that, you know.
So
well, they need to convince him to
almost
get
like
to
politics.
It is politicking, Mike. It's exactly what it is.
They need to convince him to get the HBCUs.
Yeah, and the thing with HBCUs too, some of them have sold out as well. So you got to keep that in mind too.
They have no choice.
That's fair.
Because the support is just not there for them.
Yeah, but then they just get a whole bunch of money from the last time Trump was in office. Then they give them a
whole bunch of money to Coppin.
Yeah, a bunch of billions. Yeah,
Who gave him money?
Trump did. His first time, man. Yeah, Trump gave a lot of money. He pledged a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? HBCUs. Yeah, he did do that.
Yeah. So
that's what he said. When was the last time he went past Morgan campus?
I see Morgan
like crazy.
I was getting ready to say Morgan looked like they got some money. They done built up all kinds of stuff.
Coppin building up too.
Yeah. So they getting something.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, Morgan is building buildings.
They getting something. And it remind me of church. Because churches come in poor neighborhoods, build up these beautiful ass churches, and the houses around them decaying like a motherfucker. And they steady taking up tithes.
Yeah. Morgan and Coppin.
Well,
Coppin growing too, though.
Coppin too. Yeah.
Coppin just started their gym for like last 2 years.
I got a homeboy live over there by Coppin, and the same thing happening. They take his property taxes down.
And
that's so Coppin can come in there and swoop up.
Hold up. You know Coppin owns the high school next to him now, right?
Do they?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah.
They going to tear the high school down. But I'm gonna tell you one thing they left though. They left the football field.
Yeah, see that. I see
They left
that.
that football field, so Coppin football may be coming soon now.
Mhm.
They left that football field.
So
Okay.
Douglas is getting torn down.
Not renovated, Mike. I don't think they turned
Renovate.
it. They're gonna
Oh,
renovate
okay.
it. Yeah, they
Yeah,
renovated.
they're doing something to it. It's gates and
Yeah,
all that up
I
around
saw.
it.
They up Northwestern now, Mike.
Huh?
Like the students, they up Northwestern.
Oh wow.
They gonna tear that. They gonna
Yeah.
take that school.
Yeah,
I remember Douglas, man.
yeah,
I remember Douglas.
they sent everybody to Northwestern because we gotta go get them, for school and stuff like that. So they up at Northwestern now.
Well, Coppin already owned the property. Coppin owns the property now.
Wow. So yeah, it's
They
interesting,
gonna
man.
take that.
Yeah. I gotta
That's
get
what
out
I'm saying. Don't be surprised to see a Coppin football team come up
Hey,
sometime
look,
soon.
tomorrow, I'm back on tomorrow, man. You know what I mean? First time in a while, and did a tour day. Hey, Clayton, you crazy, man. You crazy.
What?
Yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow, man. Get a tour day weekend in there,
Yeah.
man. And then going forward, I'm back off weekends, so I'll be able to get both days in.
Oh,
Okay.
you man.
I'm supposed to be playing golf tomorrow, but it looks like it's going to rain here in Baltimore, so I should be on.
Hold up, man, before I go. 3 weeks ago, last time I was on, you say you had a tournament down there at Curl Park, man. How did it go?
We came in second place.
My man.
We got cheated. We should have came in first.
For
The team,
real?
let me tell you something. The team that beat us didn't input their scores electronically. They kept it on paper. So once everybody scores went in, then here come that card coming in, and we lost.
Listen, real quick, Clayton, I don't know if you heard, it's a guy, he's a UPS driver here in Catonsville area. He's going for a chance to get on the PGA tour, and they say he's competing against former champions, Bubba Watson and all them. I don't know. Yeah.
No, the PGA Tour is in Maryland this weekend.
Whatever it is, he's
so
like,
he's probably playing that in the tournament this weekend.
Yeah, he's trying to get on the tour, right? And they say, man, if he shoot, you know what I'm saying, when he's been shooting, 18 holes or whatever, they say he'll get on the tour. He'll get a tour card. Yeah, he'll get a tour card or whatever.
I thought he was talking about
Then he UPS driver. Yeah, UPS driver.
I thought you were talking about my guy for a minute because he retired UPS and he's shooting the low 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about him for a minute, but no, it ain't him.
But see, let me tell you,
I don't know his name.
The key about golf is you can always shoot low 80s, low 90s, and everything, but it also depends on where you're shooting it. You got to be playing on a PGA certified course to get those type of Because, like, let's say you go to a public course and you're shooting 80s in a public course, really not going to matter.
It ain't the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you playing miniature golf and you killing that shit, don't count.
Nah, because Peter say that because sometimes they go to hybrid golf courses and he's shooting the high 90s because it's different. It's like it's so much more of a challenge. Yeah.
Well, I know this. We should all go play some golf, even though you don't know how to play or whatever. We need to play some golf because my game gets better the drunk I get.
Hey, I got some golf shoes too.
None of that shit.
Golf shoes be nice. No golf shoes be nice.
I didn't even know they was golf shoes. I was like, oh, these hot. Yeah.
$200 and $300.
Yeah.
$200 and $300 for golf shoes.
Ain't no question. I didn't think them. Yeah, they nice. They nice, man. But I'm gonna go.
Hey, don't let Dick school you, man.
I'll check in with y'all tomorrow, man. Peace, man.
All right,
appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. See y'all tomorrow.
You done?
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right,
I'll talk to you, man. Okay, bro.
All right, later, fellas.
Everybody, make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment. Also, tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. We'll be live again. Peace.